Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to fly the brand new updated iniBuilds A300 on a VATSIM event from Singapore to Bangkok. A route that I'm really looking forward to, especially flying on an event in Asia, since that is something we've only done very rarely on the channel yet. Likewise, I'm very much looking forward to the A300, as it is really one of my favorite planes in the simulator at the moment, next to obviously the 737, the Phoenix 320 and so on. Alright, so there's a few things we're going to do today that are probably going to count as a first on the channel. Flying a hopefully very busy event in Asia, even though I kinda hope it's not gonna be as busy as our Indian shuttle recently. That was really fun though. But I do hope that we're going to get a little bit fewer delays on that one. Now, this is not exactly the very first flight I do with the update. I did do one before that I actually recorded that's going to become available in the next couple of days, so just do keep that in mind that I have seen the plane already, even though that one was recorded using the freighter, and this is the passenger version, which we haven't flown on the channel at all that much. So with that, welcome everybody to our flight. Now, before we are going to start, let's quickly actually find our way to the cockpit. You can see we are sitting in the Thai Airways livery, operating on a real-world flight number. Obviously, the real one is operated with A320s, though, rather than with A300s. But it's really good to see this airplane in action. Alright, so let's just quickly go inside, and the cabin we can have a little bit more thorough look at a little bit later on. So we just go right up to the cockpit. By the way, I've got no idea why the frame rate just turned bad. It was really good before I started the recording, so I'm sure it's gonna come back. I mean, this is, yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to become better in a few moments when the simulator gets a bit more accustomed to being back inside. Sometimes this just happens, so be it. Alright, so let's have a quick look into our electronic flight pack then and see what this is going to be all about. So, import the flight from SimBrief, obviously, and here we go. Okay, so a little bit of weather as is expected. If we have a look at the OFP, for some reason it still does not get the formatting of the OFP right. I really don't know what is causing that. But with a bit of luck, hopefully we will be able to get that sorted. Now, if we go ahead and have a quick look into the most important things then, obviously weather is going to be one of them, so is our alternate. So if we take the general idea, our destination, Bangkok's, please excuse my pronunciation of this, Bangkok Suvarnabhumi International. I do kind of hope that's how you pronounce it. Weather is looking very good, just a few clouds at the sky, 31 degrees centigrade. Our alternate is looking very similar, the same goes for all our other alternates. Alright, so weather-wise everything is looking pretty good. Let's see if we can find our weather charts for a moment, because Asia en route weather always is a certain factor as well. So let's see if we can find any of that. Nope, not included. Okay, that's a bit of a pity. But rest assured, I did take a look at them off screen beforehand, so I can tell you already that en route weather is going to be okay today, and I don't expect too much of a diversion coming from that. Alright, so that's our basic flight information. So with that, we got to make a fuel decision now, and I tend to say that, well, it is a VATSIM event, so there is a bit of a chance that we might encounter some delays, so let's take a little bit extra here. If we say half an hour on top, then we got that's basically 14 tons plus half an hour, so if we turn that into 16 and a half, then I would say we should be good to go. So 16 and a half tons is what we're going to take for our fuel. Well, then let's go ahead and start powering our airplane up. So, batteries on, hydraulics are off, wipers checked, gear lever down, flap lever in agreement, fuel switches off, weather radar off. Okay, do we need an APU already? I would probably say so. So let's go ahead with the APU fire test. which is looking good. Okay, external power on. And yeah, it is probably rather... it's probably a good idea to just go ahead and start the APU already. What's the temperature outside? Okay, sensors aren't active yet, but they will come in a few moments. Okay, cool. And then we can go ahead, turn on the IRSs, all 3 of them. Light test. A couple of you kept asking me, like, what's that sound that plays during the light test? That's the wind shear test that the plane does at the same time. Alright then, and the oxygen supply, I do believe that one's been fixed with a recent update, so let's go ahead and turn that one on as well. Alright, looks good to me. So then we can do our initial flight deck setup, and that is from Victor Triple Sierra. Come on. Victor Triple Sierra to Victor Tango Bravo Sierra. Alright, we'll insert that route manually. The IRS position looks good, so let's click align, and then the airplane can start the alignment process. Alright, in the meantime, we are going to go ahead and do the loading of the plane. So let's go weight and balance, update from SimBrief, and the fuel we'll do manually. 14,000 is the standard, we'll make it 16.5. So 16,500, apply load to airplane. Thank you. Alright, and with that we should be refueling real time now. Alright, awesome. So, that much about our initial setting up of the plane. Right then, very cool. So, then let's have a quick look into all the changes that we're expecting with the latest version of it. So, if I did take the changelog over here, took it from the iniBuilds forum and just inverted the colors in case you're wondering how I got it dark. So this is the changelog that we've got. Couple of stuff in there that might be important for us. For example, emergency exit disarm light in-op. Well, let's have a quick look at that, and we can see that it does work. And it even goes out when we're on the emergency exit lights. Awesome. Alright, other stuff that we've got in there, for example, on the passenger version, crew oxygen gauge wrong. Upper one should say hectopascals. Okay. So that's over here and says hectopascals. Okay. Looking good. So looked like I definitely installed the correct version of the airplane over here. And then we can go ahead with the rest of the pre-flight setup. So let's get rid of that changelog again. We'll have another look into that once we are en route. But apart from that, I tend to say let's go ahead and do our pre-flight procedures. So, Airbus way, we do start on the overhead panel, so no smoking, the sign can go on. We'll wait with the seatbelt signs until the refueling procedure is completed. Then the hydraulics are looking good. The flight recorder ground control is going to come on. Now, I recently had a question underneath one of my videos in regards to what the flight recorder ground control button actually does. So this button up here basically has one function. By default, a flight recorder, or rather a cockpit voice recorder, is designed to turn on once the first engine start progresses until 5 minutes after the last engine is shut down. However, by regulation nowadays, we are required to record the entire pre-flight briefings as well. For that reason, all aircraft nowadays have a manual flight recorder ground control switch where you can manually turn the recorder on the ground already, and that is pretty much what this switch does. Alright, also worth noting over here is the hydraulic quantities. Remember, those are live in the Airbus, so they can decrease with the amount of flights you do. So strobes auto, nav and logo auto, the trim and yaw damper buttons come on. The pitch trim we can only do once the IRSs have finished aligning. Alright, then we can move on to the next side. So APU is running. Let's turn the APU bleed on so that it doesn't get too hot. The fuel pumps we can only turn on once the refueling is finished, so we'll keep those. We did the APU fire check, okay. Next one, window heat is coming on. So, engine number 2 fire test. looking good, and engine number 2 squib test likewise looking good. Alright, and lastly, the air conditioning panel is set up correctly. We do have APU bleed on now, so it should get a little bit cooler in the cabin any moments now. Alright, can't do the FCU yet because we can't turn that on. So let's move on with the main instruments. So QNH 1011. Like that. Okay, then we're going to test the alternate brake system next. So for that, well, let's just quickly see if we can actually do it like this now. So we go to the alternate brakes, parking brake is released. Obviously we should not have any pressure here. So iniBuilds is just faking the parking brake when you've got the chocks in place. So what I'm going to do is I will remove the chocks here. Obviously that means our airplane is no longer held in place now, so let's do this test quickly. We'll hit the brake pedals, observe the pressure coming up. That is looking good. And now let's put the parking brake in place. Here we go. Alright, so that's looking good. Chocks back in place. Perfect. Okay. We obviously don't need to care about those doors. They are meant to be open at the moment. Landing elevation is approximately 0. Landing gear test is looking good. Alright, down to the pedestal. So frequencies, we can already go ahead and select the guard frequency on COM 2, and on COM 1 we'll set the delivery frequency only once we're actually ready to obtain our clearance. And my Polish friend, hi, nice to see you in the comments. Okay, so then we can go on down here on pedestal. So radios, listening obviously to number 1 and 2. We also want to listen to our colleague talking to us. And that's that part. Weather radar, we can switch to a couple degrees up and turn it onto the weather section. TCAS into the above mode, and that should be mostly it. Alright, so that is done. Then let's go ahead and mark our oil quantities. Again, something that we should probably do here. So that's going up to 20, and this one is also going up to about 20. The reason we need to do this is because as soon as the engines are started, oil is being sucked into the engines, and thus the quantity indication decreases. Alright, so that much about it. Then finally, let's just move to the aft panel over here. And down here, we can have a look at our APU and the APU oil quantity, which is looking good. Alright, so that much about it. Then let's go ahead and start with our FMS setup. Okay. So, in order to do that, and so that I don't have to look left and right all the time, I have just took my operational flight plan and put it on my iPad. I do believe that's the easier option to work with here. So if you're wondering where I got my data from, that's it. Okay, Costa X30, cruise flight level 360, and we are the Thai 408. Right, our alternate airport, or rather our primary alternate airport, is going to be Victor Tango Bravo Uniform. Into here, and for the wind component at the top of climb 173 at 24. Alright, here we go. So, flight plan, Singapore, sits. We'll plant runway 20 center at first. But it could literally become either runway. Let's plant 20 center, and then we'll see later on what we're going to get. VMR 5 Alpha departure, insert. Then, from Victor Mike Romeo. It's going to be Bravo 469. Towards Victor Papa Kilo. Please wait, here we go. Then from there we will proceed Mike 751 to Victor Kilo Bravo. And then we will proceed via Mike 644 Alumo. And finally Yankee 12 Dolny, and that's where we are going to join the arrival. Okay, looking good. So for the arrival itself, I will simply go ahead and insert something random at first. So let's say ILS Zulu 19 left, Dolny 3 Charlie arrival, and we said we are coming from Dolny directly, so I don't think we need any transition. No, we don't, so insert. So that's just our first version of it. We can still update that later. So 824 miles, and on the flight plan it reads 825. So we're good to go with that. Alright, then we'll move on to the weights. So we said we plan 16.5 block fuel, and that is actually what's loaded by now. And since the loading is complete, let's go ahead and quickly turn on the seatbelt signs and the fuel pumps as well. Alright, then we can continue with our FMS setup. And the zero fuel weight 112.9. And the CG, as long as we don't have our load sheet, we'll just use 25. Alright, excellent. So optimum 345, cruising 360, maximum 371, looks good. And for our fuel planning, diversion fuel is 1.5. And the final reserve fuel 2.2 is correct in there. Gives us an extra of 44 minutes. Now, if that is not sufficient to cover VATSIM events, then I don't know what is. So Kelt Gaming, thank you so much for the $19.99 donation. That's really appreciated, my friend. That is really appreciated. Now, Remy has been asking in the chat, which scenery do I use for Singapore? I'm using the ImagineSim scenery. I previously had the CloudSurf Asia, but I found a lot of people telling me that the ImagineSim is more accurate. So that is what I decided to go for this one. And I bought it. Okay, so let's go for the performance then. Synchronize runway, well, we'll plan to center at first, but if we get a different runway later on, then so be it. So, all of that seems okay. Calculate, the speed's 595963. And our thrust reduction altitude is going to remain at 1515, but our acceleration 1015. Okay. Then we can quickly set up our FCU, now that the IRS is aligned. Here you go, 163, and pre-select the clean speed, which is going to be 215. Wait a moment, so 163, preset, 215. Okay, then let's move on to the electronic flight bag and grab our charts. Navigraph, Singapore, airport. Yes, no, maybe? Here we are, just took a while it seems. I see loads of charts there, so we grab the airport chart. And probably the parking stands main, I suppose? Yeah, that's it. Right, awesome. And then finally our sit charts. Victor Mike Romeo, we just gotta find that chart now. Probably this one, Mersing? Yes. Mersing, and I do believe that's it. Okay, do we have an initial climb on here? 3000. Okay, and we can go to daylight mode with this. Okay, so that is all selected. We can just make it 3100 in here, and then we should be good to go. Alright, so, then my Polish friend, what is the reason behind using the top of climb wind instead of the average wind? Well, the primary reason behind that is that I don't have an average wind in the flight plan format that I'm using nowadays. Okay, so, Mark Pierce, really tempted to buy the A300 now, but with the A310 being very similar and being free, even though not as good, I don't know whether to buy it. Well, that will depend mostly on what your requirements are for flying it, you know. Personally, the A310 has not been a very popular aircraft. The A300 is, and the A300 is still in use, and you've got a freighter version with it, and then you just got a little bit more refined systems with things like the maintenance stuff added. So in my opinion, that is all stuff which does make it rather worthwhile, considering the A300 over the A310. Obviously, the A310 is a good airplane as well in what it is. I would probably do it this way. If you like flying the A310, then you already know about the system interaction and how to fly the plane by SOP. If you then prefer to have the A300 as an airplane type, for example, because many airlines that you wish to fly use it, or because you want to fly the freighter, then go for the A300. If you say you're completely happy with the A310 as it is, then save the money and probably buy something else. That's probably my best take on it. It is an enjoyable airplane to fly, that is for sure. Alright, so let's head straight back into the cockpit and see if we can grab a clearance. By the way, I really don't know what's causing that super loud sound here. Let's close the cockpit door for a second. And by the way, I also don't know what is causing those super low frame rates. I'm getting them ever since I logged into VATSIM. Let's just log out for a second. So now we're logged off, and look at that, our frame rate is so much better. I did already disable the iniBuilds from the VATSIM library, so it's not like the plane is showing many A300s or so. I do know that that was a known issue, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Alright, so 128.6 for the ATIS. Let's go ahead and grab that. I just want to get a clearance first, because, you know, I don't know if they're slotting or anything the like, so I just want to be sure that we don't have to wait for half an hour after doing the briefing and stuff like that. And I want to know which runway to brief for.
Advise ATC is unable departure on runway 02 center. Acknowledge information Tango on first contact with ATC.
So we do have ATIS Tango.
Singapore Changi Airport. Departure, information Tango, time 1200, departure runway 02 left and runway 02 center, wind 010 degrees 8 knots, visibility 10 kilometers, cloud view 1800, ceiling 30,000 broken, temperature 28, 2.24, UMH 1012 hectopascals, departure, initial climb 3000 feet. Fourth mode Charlie on all taxiways. Taxiway designations may not be accurate on scenery. Refer to task. Advise ATC is unable departure on runway 02 center. Acknowledge information Tango on first. Okay, cool. Then let's go ahead and grab our clearance. 121.85 is the delivery frequency. And the parking brake is blocking the radio. Now, that click spot they need to work on. Look at that. I can't change my radio with the parking brake set. Can change the outer one just down here. But on top of that, the parking brake click spot blocks it. That is annoying. Well, let's go for clearance. Singapore delivery Thai 408 information. Tango request clearance to Bangkok. So talking to us. Doesn't sound like he is, huh? Singapore delivery Thai 408 radio check on 128.85.
Nope, doesn't talk to us. Okay, let's try 121.65 then. Maybe I was just too peep to read the frequency. This is probably better. Oh yeah, there's people talking on here. That's definitely helpful. It's lovely how that scooter just interrupted for his radio check, isn't it? And now the scoot interrupts again. Unbelievable. And now he gets the standby as number 1 for being that guy on the frequency. That's a... Oh boy. Singapore delivery, good evening. Thai 408, standby in sequence as well for the clearance. Yep, I just wanted to get in that sequence because I have a feeling if I do apply proper radio procedures here, then we will just never get our clearance. Alright, well. And flight to live, as long as we don't get Hannover flashbacks, we're good. I absolutely agree on that. Hi Paolo, nice to see you in the comments. Alright, so, well, I do suppose while we are somehow waiting for our clearance, we can just try to close the doors already. Let's also go ahead and request our pushback already, because hey, it can just be a matter of hours now, can it? Okay, so APU is running. We'll get rid of the ground power unit, and chocks can go. With the parking brake set, of course, and ground power unit can go as well. I just really don't know what's causing the frames to be that bad. It's really only when connected to VATSIM right now. I really don't have an idea what's causing that. I mean, I am aware of the general problem with iniBuilds aircraft showing drastically reducing the frames, but that doesn't seem to be it, because when I'm looking into my airplane list, then the iniBuilds is definitely disabled in there. So it should only be the FSLTL models. So let's see if he remembers our position in the queue. Thai 408 ready to copy, requesting flight level 360. Thai 408 cleared to Bangkok via the Mersing 5 Alpha departure, runway 02 center, climb 3000 feet, squawk 0165. One to 1.725 Thai 408, yep. Damn that park and brake. I can't even switch my comms. Okay, that click spot here is seriously messed. That is seriously messed. Okay, so squawk 0165, let's try and get that in.
Giant 237, report your bay. Cargo 505, Giant 237. Giant 237, pushback approved, face south. Pushback approved, face south, Giant 237.
0165, okay. Then we've got the Mersing 5 Alpha and climbing at 3000. Looking good. Alright, awesome.
Thai Vietjet 1959.
So, that far that good. Then let's go ahead and have a look into the routing. In the meantime, Jan, guten Mittag. Is it possible that you would fly in or out of Dortmund at some time in the video? I think I've done that at some point, but can certainly do it again. Alright, so, cabin crew, all doors in flight. Then let's go ahead and cross-check our SID real quick. I mean, it's literally only straight at token, above 2000, then left-hand turn Akoma, above 7000, and then onto Mersing. Okay. Are you ready for the departure brief?
Thai Vietjet 1959, pushback approved, face north.
Oh, just want to see it. We should probably get this one in line.
Facing north clear, uniform 7 for Thai Vietjet 1959.
Singapore ground, just Asia climb 3 at Gulf 9 requesting pushing 7.
Okay, so for the briefing, takeoff runway 2 center, Mersing 5 Alpha, departure climb 3000, MSA 1900, and extra fuel is about 45 minutes. Hotspots for the taxi, yeah, it could probably become pretty messy over here, with all the traffic talking over one another. But as far as I can see, that is the only, threat that we actually have for this departure. Stop margin for ejected takeoff is over 1000 meters, engine outset, runway track, climb at 3000. Immediate return to Singapore as possible, and we are underneath the maximum landing weight, so that should be good to go. Special or non-standard operations, well, we have hand over to departure frequency rather quickly after getting airborne, so that's probably the most important point here. We'll put the autopilot in as early as possible in order to relieve our load, and that should be it. Any questions?
Continue taxi uniform
No?
2,
Very good.
Uniform 9 and Tango.
Then let's do the before start checklist down to the line. Cockpit prep, complete, science, on auto, fuel quantity. That's 16,400 kilograms. Navigation checked set, landing elevation 0, altimeters 1011 reading 20, set cross checked, brake anti-skid, norm on, before start checklist complete down to the line. Okay, now let's try to get our pushback clearance. We're in Bay, Echo 27.
Scooter 423, standby.
Singapore ground, Thai 408, stand Echo 27, request push and start.
Put back and start. Thai 410, stand by, due traffic. Hotel standby traffic, Thai 410. 410 ready for taxi.
And Alex Peterson, thank you so much for the £2.50 donation. That is really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Romeo 7, Romeo for short tango, Singapore 720.
Ground hello, Thai 408, Echo 27, request push and start.
2 stations at the same time. Indonesia 953, continue taxi on Tango to holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
So I'm taking bets. How many times do we need to call for push and start until we actually get through? Singapore ground hello, Thai 408, Echo 27, request push and start.
Thai 408, report your bay.
Echo 27.
Thai 408, pushback approved, face north.
Pushback approved, face north, Thai 408. Okay, continue pushback, face north means nose to the right hand side.
Singapore 62.
Before start checklist below the line. Windows doors.
And hold short Victor.
Closed, beacon on, park and brake set, before start checklist complete. Okay, ground cockpit, go ahead. So, push and start approved, facing north, park and brake set. Roger, release park and brake. Park and brake released.
Thai 3612.
Okay, off block at 35. 36 actually. That is not too bad.
Then
let's quickly say hello to the passengers.
Hold short of Romeo.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from Flight Deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of Thai Airways, you are all welcome aboard our flight to Bangkok. Flight time today approximately 2 hours at a cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. I would like to say thank you very much for joining. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us, and if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming flight attendants. The flight attendants will perform the safety demonstration in a few moments. We would like to ask you to pay your full attention, as that is not just for your own safety, but also the safety of the passengers sitting around you. Thank you for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. I'm gonna skip the German PA here. Let's go ahead with our engine start.
Jet 120, contact tower on 118.25.
Okay, engine 2 start.
11825, Thai Vietjet.
And 2.
Thai Asia 655 ready for
Oil pressure.
taxi, able intersection Tango 9 for departure.
And 1.
Thai Asia 655, taxi Quebec 3 and Quebec. Hold short of Tango.
Fuel on.
Sorry, disregard.
And the engine's lighting up.
AirAsia
Wonderful.
655, taxi.
William Walker, thank you very
Quebec
much for
1,
the
hold
donation.
short
That
of
is really appreciated.
Quebec 1, hold short Quebec, Thai Asia.
And Remy
655.
Chow, why don't you fly from the left seat if you're a... Wait a moment, that question doesn't make sense. Why don't you fly from the left seat if you are a first officer in real life? Well, I do fly from the left seat. You probably mean why don't you fly from the right seat? Well, simply because flight simmers don't want to see that. And let's be honest over here, we are all working to become a captain, are we? Okay, engine 1
Singapore
starts.
62, contact
And 2.
Singapore ground on 124.3, bye-bye.
A general observation that I make is when I'm flying on the right seat, in general, in the live streams, I'm getting much fewer views than if I'm flying on the left seat. For that reason, I'm mostly focusing it on the left side, where 99% of the flight simmers actually do their flights. Okay, so... Man, that frame rate is really horrible today. I never had such a big impact from VATSIM.
Thai 410, pushback approved, face north.
Roger, facing north on Quebec.
Okay, don't think we'll need those lights anymore. Let's turn them off. Okay, we've got 2 good starts. Ground, you're clear to disconnect. See you with a clear signal on the left side of the airplane. And then have a wonderful day. Hey, where is my...
0 Singapore ground. Good evening.
Where's my FCU?
Pushback
What's happened
approved,
here?
facing north.
All my data is gone. Okay, tell you what, we'll do the after start procedure first.
Question Singapore 720 holding short Tango.
And thereafter we are going to
Singapore
do
720,
the
standby.
investigation of what's happened to our FCU. Because I really have no idea. I mean, if anyone has seen that, or the latest update, that the FCU just blanks, then do let me know. Apparently I can still change numbers, like you can see right here, my altitude actually changes when I do something over here. Looks like the FCU just went blank. I got absolutely no idea why.
2 holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
Okay, so flex temperature 63, we forgot to dial that in earlier, so let's do it while we see it. Okay, after start checklist. Pitch trim. 0 set, rudder trim, neutral, spoilers, armed, slats flaps, 15, 15. Ecam status, checked, anti-ice,
Singapore cargo 818.
off, hand signal,
Standby.
probably received. Yeah, there she is. Lovely placing. Okay, after start checklist complete. Then, FCU, what's going on there? We just turned that off and on again.
Pushback approved, face south.
Singapore ground, Giant 78 at Bay 504, push and start.
I mean,
Giant
the
78,
button
stand
still
by.
works, so I suppose we can fly with this. I mean, we got all the indications on the displays. It's literally just the...
1959, taxi,
wait a moment.
uniform
Could that
7,
be
hold short of
because
Tango.
I turned some lights off here?
Uniform 7, hold short of Tango.
Oh no, that's the
Uniform
button.
ground, John 2,
Interesting, I thought this was only the lights, not the... thought it was only the lights, not the actual
Giant
indications.
237, taxi November
Okay.
2,
That much about it.
and November, hold short Papa 1.
And you guys in the chat figured it out long before me. Okay. Note to myself, look into the chat. Especially when you're asking the gentlemen. They're typically rather knowledgeable. Type 408 request taxi.
Thai 408, taxi Papa 5, hold short of Tango.
Papa 5, hold short Tango, Thai 408.
Thai 3612, Singapore ground.
Romeo.
Okay, so Papa 5 is to the right, then hold shot of the
taxi on
taxiway.
Tango to holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
Lights on, brakes off. Let's see how that's gonna work. So Papa 5 just over there, and the signs do say the same.
Thai 3612 negative, taxi to Tango to
Okay,
holding
brake
point
check.
Tango 12,
Pressure
runway
0.
02 center.
Continue taxi via Tango and hold short Tango 12 on 027.
Let's move that viewpoint up a little bit, otherwise I just find it very hard to get around those corners.
For Tower 118.25, bye-bye.
118.250, Indonesian 953,
It's rather unbelievable how everybody is just talking about it on top of one another, is it?
Thai Airways,
I mean, it literally looks to me,
taxi on Tango.
it literally looks to me like the chaos we expected in India is what we found over here in Singapore now. People just don't know radio discipline. Okay, so we hold short Tango, that's the second taxiway, the one just over there.
Yeah, Thai 411, hold short of Romeo.
So I can just let it roll ahead at 3 knots as well then.
Scooter 423, Singapore ground.
Thai 1, requesting pushback.
Yeah, all stations standby. Scooter 423, Singapore ground.
And Flight to Live, I always wonder why are people not waiting at least 5 seconds before calling in? Probably because you just don't get a chance then. You literally don't get a chance. It's nice how you can taxi the airplane at such a slow speed. I mean, in the real world, this is pretty much what I would do, you know? Don't waste any thrust, just let it roll forward, see what's gonna happen. And talk about see what's gonna happen, so over there we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aircraft currently in line for the departure.
655, taxi Quebec and Tango, hold short of Romeo.
Quebec, Tango, hold short Romeo.
Okay, looks like we do need a little bit of power now to get the plane move ahead.
Thai 408, continue taxi on Tango, hold short of Romeo.
Taxi Tango, hold short Romeo, Thai 408. So, Tango, hold short Romeo.
801.
Okay,
Request the pushback from stand Delta 34.
so clear left side, clear right side. So we turn to the right into Tango, and when we're on Tango we gotta check where to find
Vehicle
Romeo.
ground, cargo A18, still requesting, waiting on a pushback clearance. Thank you very much.
Singapore 818, Roger, stand by just a second.
Man, that guy's audio is shit there. Okay, so hold short Romeo, that's at the end of the terminals. Alright, so straight ahead for a bit then.
Cargo look 7303, were you giving pushback clearance?
Cargo looks is fed up, it seems. He just pushes on his own.
Thai 410, request taxi to runway 02 left.
Thai 410, stand by.
Roger, standby.
William Walker, have I ever considered
Singapore ground.
controlling on VATSIM? I did control and VATSIM. I got totally fed up with all the incompetence. So I did in the past, but I really couldn't be bothered to keep doing it.
Papa 1, hold short of Quebec.
Okay, so let's do a flight control track.
Papa 1, hold short, Quebec. 1337.
Full up, full down, neutral, full left,
Thai 3612,
full right,
contact Singapore Tower 118.25.
neutral, and the rudder we know it works because we do have nose-wheel steering. In the simulator, that is. In the real world, obviously, you would do a separate rudder check.
Singapore Tower 118.25.
Okay, cool. So, before takeoff checklist... No, not yet. First we do this, and this.
Scooter 710, ready for taxi.
Okay, takeoff test normal. Now, Romeo is probably upcoming. No, a little bit further ahead, okay. So got to be the one over there where the other aircraft is standing as well. Alright, cool. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Flight controls, checked. Briefing, confirmed. Sleds flaps, 1515. Performance FMAs. So we've got 595963.
Yeah, I have the cargo logs there.
And takeoff config checked. Transponder set. Before takeoff checklist complete.
Yeah, I don't have you on radar. Singapore cargo 42. Standby.
Alright, so we'll keep a little bit of distance from that 787 in front here.
42, are you able
So
to
that is Romeo, which we're holding short of. Then the brake is set, and with that begins the wait. So let's see, how many is it in front of us?
Hold short of Papa 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That is not as bad as I initially thought it might turn out. Alright, cool. So,
Thai Vietjet 19559, continue.
So, Beluga on PC. Hi, Jamie. Good afternoon, Emmanuel. Love the podcast with Willy. I left a little message in the comment section of Willy's Discord post. Loving all the content. Well, thank you very much for that, my friend. Thank you very much.
Continue taxi on Tango, hold short of Uniform 7.
And Foodie is asking, does somebody know why Discover flies from Nuremberg to La Romana? Well, probably a charter flight or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
The giant.
And Conrad, has anybody ever recognized your voice over a PA and come to say hello? No, not over a PA, but I did have air traffic controllers recognize me already. I did have air traffic controllers who asked me like, hey, do you by any chance run a YouTube channel? And I'm like, I do.
K-mile 80.
That was really, really nice.
Stand 5 for pushback, due traffic behind. You're number 2.
Alright, so we taxi forward and hold short of Romeo, which is the next taxiway in question. Nobody coming over there, that is good.
692 Singapore grounder, you have a problem with your microphone, I can't make out your audio.
Oh yeah, that guy definitely does have a problem with his microphone.
Scooter 710, taxi Quebec, hold short of Tango.
Taxi Quebec, hold short Tango, Scooter 710.
So today seems to be the how slow can you creep forward challenge.
Thai 410, can you squawk more Charlie?
No, he cannot.
Charlie, sir, Thai 410.
Montapap, that guy sounds like he's talking on a military handheld radio. Yeah, seems like it. And Foodie, how did I get spray on the departing traffic? I honestly got no idea. I mean, I literally just installed the FSLTL models, and that's it. Didn't do anything else.
692, report your base.
But look at that, the airplane just creeps forward really nicely. I'm not using any thrust.
692, which bay are you parked at? Report your bay.
I mean, honestly, if there's anybody behind me who's got an airplane that got so much static thrust that it would taxi forward on its own, like a 737 MAX, for example, or an A330, well, that guy would probably be pretty pissed that I just creep forward at this speed, but, you know.
Singapore 692, pushback approved, face south.
He's got close there. He's gonna smell our exhaust, that's for sure. And again, people are talking over one another.
Tower 118.25.
We're Tower 118.25.
Thai 411, continue taxi on Tango to holding point
So,
Tango 12, runway
118.25.
027.
I have a feeling he's forgotten us over here. That guy's racing over there as well.
Thai 408, continue taxi on Tango to holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
Taxi Tango holding point Tango 1202 center, Thai 408. Okay, Tango 12. Let's see, Tango 7 over here, so Tango 12 is probably all the way down, is it? Yeah, it's the middle one. Okay.
Singapore Cargo 42, continue taxi on November. Papa
No need to go fast here. Enough people still waiting over there, so 10 knots. Gonna be perfectly fine. In the meantime, let's make a quick call out to our passengers because they will be wondering what's going on.
Giant 237.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Flight, this is your captain speaking. Unfortunately, due to a lot of other departing aircraft at the moment, we will have to wait a little bit in the queue until our time for the departure has come, so we do expect another 10 minutes at least. Nonetheless, we do ask that you remain seated with your seatbelt fastened all the time, since we might get some last-minute shortcuts at any moment in time. Thank you very much for your attention, thank you for listening, and thank you for following the cabin crew's instructions.
Taxi on Tango to holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
Alright, now at least the passengers are aware. So let's just help it a little bit here.
Tango to holding point Tango 12, runway 02 center.
So, Tango 12, that's pretty much towards the end, so we'll just keep going over here. Conrad, thank you so much for the $3.99 donation, and Foodie, welcome as an economy class member.
469.
And Beluga on PC, have I ever flown into Aberdeen? No, I haven't. The closest airport I've been to is Edinburgh. But that one was really nice.
Bravo 1, 2,
I really enjoyed Edinburgh, especially when there's been a little bit of wind around because you've got all those hills on the arrival. That makes it rather interesting.
Thai 411, contact Singapore Tower 118.25, bye-bye.
Okay, that's him calling the tower now. So he's going, then we've got a heavy in front of us. Everyone's going on the same sit, so I do expect they will use a little bit of increased separation there. So I expect something like 5 or 6 minutes until we can actually get our takeoff clearance. Depending on if they have departures on 02 center following the same standard instrument departure as well, which we don't really know.
Scooter 710, continue taxi on Tango, hold short of Romeo.
Taxi Tango, hold short Romeo, Scooter 710.
Right, so Tango 12 is the middle one, and with that let's change over to the sit chart, because that's going to be the next one we'll use. Quick look on here. There is nothing about an automatic handover or so. That is good. Speed restrictions, 230 until 4,000, 250 until 10,000. So that 230 initially, that's going to be our concern here. If we just maintain the preset speed here at 215, we should be good to go.
Scooter 6014, pushback approved, face north. Pushback approved, face north, Scooter 614.
10 miles, 801, we're on bay Delta 34, so request push.
Man, that Atlas pilot over there really got balls. He just taxis a couple meters behind the A320 over there. He just can't be bothered. I like it.
Scooter
I really like it.
Your pushback has been cancelled, standby.
Roger that, standby, Scooter 614.
Okay, we'll just stop over here.
One pushback approved base north. Sorry for the delay.
Brake set, so I'm holding short over here so that we can take Tango 11 if we need to. And again, everyone talking over one another.
Stations at the same time.
Quality 81602, ready for push.
I wonder why the 787 over here is not lining up. It doesn't look like there is anybody on the final.
A pushback approved.
Definitely doesn't look like it.
South of the 81.
And in case they have departures from the parallel runway, I wonder why they don't give this guy a lineup already though. Oh wow. That hurt.
Singapore 692, score for Charlie.
Yeah.
Ah yeah, interesting. I bet I won't bother him as long as we have an airplane in front of us. He will eventually notice that he can hand us over to the tower.
Hold short of Romeo.
They're probably trying to get some additional separation up there. We'll see about it. We will see about it. I'm sure they're eventually going to get there.
Thai 410, contact Singapore ground at 124.3, bye-bye.
Beluga and PC, I could imagine ground saying 7 stations at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised.
Frequency 124.3.
124.3, Thai 410.
And Cockpit, that's interesting there. For better models, you can go into the settings from your vPilot and click the small plus which is left of the model matching the custom rules and then add custom rule sets. That's true.
Thai 411.
Okay, the guy's lining up, so now it's literally just us.
Thai 408, contact Singapore Tower 118.25, bye-bye.
118.25, Thai 408, see ya. Singapore Tower low, Thai 408, ready.
Thai 408, Singapore Tower, good evening, hold at ready point Tango 1.
Hold at Tango 12, Thai 408. Okay, so now we can taxi into Tango 12. You know, previously, in case the 787 got stuck over there, I just wanted to keep myself the option to go into Tango 11 instead of being stuck behind the 787. That's something we do rather often. I mean, whether I hold here or whether I hold here, you know, doesn't make all that much of a difference. And in case they wanted to get that Airbus behind me out over Tango 11 first, they could always have told me to taxi forward, so then it would not have been a problem. But that's kind of a little bit of a, I like to call it tactical taxiing. Alright, rather long aircraft, rather long overshoot of the nose. But now I'm wondering why he does not line us up on the runway. But the runway is clear and it does not look like there is anybody approaching at the moment, is there? I mean, I noticed the same. I mean, there is one approaching, but he looks... 1 to what? 120 this move. Okay.
237 short 2 center.
Okay, 120.3 is pre-selected. So now it's literally just waiting for ATC clearance. I wonder why they are not using all the holding points. Like that Air Asia over there would easily fit on Tango 11, and then you could put the 747. Well, at least, you know, make him hold short here. I mean, ultimately, I don't think it matters too much anyway, but, well. And Daniel, how long is the flight? We're looking at approximately 2 hours. Depending on traffic. I mean,
408, between 1 degrees and up from 02 center, clear takeoff.
Thai 408, runway 02 center, cleared for takeoff. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Before takeoff checklist below the line. Cabin. Secure, TCAS, Tara, packs on, ignition off, anti-ice off, before takeoff checklist complete. So had he lined us up earlier, then we could have been airborne by now. That's why I said, like, why doesn't he line us up? That would expedite the departure flow. Okay, start the timers. Take off. Thrust SRS. Suppose we can arm nav. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
Thai 655, safe mode down.
100 knots.
Thai 655,
Correct.
Thai 655, still up on 02 center. None up and wait, 02 center, Thai 655.
Interesting how there's an F speed below the V1 speed. So V1 rotate. That minimum call was definitely not in place. Positive climb, gear up. Okay, we said we wanted to use the autopilot early, so let's do that. Command 1.
Thai 408, contact Singapore departure 120.3
120.3, Thai 408, good day. Flaps 1, speed checked. Or flap 0 in this case.
799 Romeo Foxtrot, proceed direct Victor Mike Romeo.
1000 to go. Checked.
Direct to Victor Mike Romeo, Singapore 99 Romeo Foxtrot heavy.
Singapore departure low, Thai 408, heavy passing 2500, climbing 3000.
Thai 411, climb 1000 feet.
Okay. Speed 230, which is the maximum they want us to fly down here.
Thai 408, Singapore departure.
Thai 408, tried to call you already, approaching 3000 feet on the Victor Mike Alpha 5 Alpha departure.
Thai 408, Singapore departure, identify climb 6000 feet.
Climb 6000 feet, Thai 408. Okay, 6000 blue, speed out blue.
Station calling, say call sign only.
Thai 411.
Thai 411, climb 1000 feet.
After takeoff climb checklist, down to altimeters. Sled flaps, retracted, landing gear, up neutral, packs on. After takeoff climb checklist complete, down to altimeters. We're approaching 4000 feet, that means we can accelerate 250. Approaching. Vertical speed. Okay, so now it literally comes down to, you know, controlling the airplane as accurately as possible. That's also the reason why I've turned the autopilot on so early, you know, with doing the radios at the same time, cleaning the airplane up.
Singapore 999 Romeo Foxtrot, contact Singapore radar 123.7, good day.
Singapore Radar 123.
So, vertical speed 1000. You know, one of my line trainers back in the old 737 days, 1000 ago, one of my line trainers just said there is a time and a space for doing manual flight. Busy airports are not one of them.
Climb 6,000 feet, Thai 605.
And he's certainly right about that. I mean,
Thai 408, climb 1000 feet.
climb 1000 feet, Thai 408. Speed out 1000 blue. You can see over here, with everything that's happening here, it is a good thing that we are keeping this, it is a good thing that we are keeping this on the autopilot instead of hand flying it, as much as I would love to hand fly it. With the second pilot, of course, things would look completely different already, but certainly for here, in the sim what we're doing over here, that looks to be the right thing. Okay, so just to check, we're climbing to 1000, and that is transition altitude. Okay. I am happy with that. And until 1000 we're keeping the speed as well. Alright, that's perfect. Obviously I could just use profile mode as well right now, but I kind of prefer to have the speed management manually done right now. Because all that would happen is that as soon as we're approaching the 11,000 we gotta go to vertical speed again, and then the speed window would open up. So I thought like, hey, tell you what, let's just go straight away into level change rather than using any of the more fancy modes.
Thai 41, contact for radar 123.7 green.
Okay, 2000 to go. Vertical speed. Now this is one of the interesting ones here.
408, climb flight level 150, cancel speed restrictions.
Thai 408, climb flight level 150, cancel speed restrictions. Okay, in that case, profile.
237, 2000.
Shouldn't have any speed restrictions on here anyway. At least not anymore.
6,000, 110, John 237.
Alright, awesome. So, passing 10,000. Lights going off. We'll keep the seatbelts on until we're out of the clouds.
Climb 1000 feet.
And down here everything's set. Alright, awesome. So that is most problems now solved. Okay, set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 110 now. Checked. Alright, awesome. So we're out of Singapore. Probably just gotta contact the next frequency, and then I got a little bit more time to answer your questions. So if you do have any, then put them in the comments below, and then we got the next about an hour and a half or so in order to have a look at them. By the way, it's nice how quiet it's becoming right now, isn't it? Like, the sound of the engines really starts to vanish beyond the sounds of the wind over here. That's nice. That is nice. The only thing I didn't hear since a while anymore is air traffic control. That's kind of strange, everything being quiet all of a sudden. I'm thinking about doing a radio check right now, just because, I don't know, it is so quiet. Okay. I do think we're out of any possible turbulence zone here, so as soon as we're wings level and the airplane is stable, well, we might be leveling off over here. Let's just wait with the seatbelts until... I'll wait with the seatbelts until we are with the next sector and clear to climb to a higher level, just to avoid everybody standing up, while we might then have to push the nose down and stuff like that. So, let's just keep him seated for a little bit longer. And again, they're talking over one another. It's lovely, isn't it?
Singapore 12, Singapore, departure, good evening, identify, climb 6,000 feet. Climb to 6,000 feet, Singapore.
Speed, vertical speed.
Jan 237, climb
1,000 to go. Checked.
150, John 237.
So, it really does make the flight a little bit more relaxed to use the autopilot in this phase of flight. But we'll go into a couple of the details in a few moments.
655, climb flight level 150.
Climb level 150, direction 655.
Are we going to get our handoff now? Or is he probably only going to hand us over at Victor Mike Romeo? Let's see, do we have an en route chart in here? I don't think we do, right? We do have some nice reflections though.
5408, contact Singapore radar 123.73.
123.7, Thai 408, see ya. Singapore radar, good evening. Thai 408, heavy, flight level 150 inbound Victor Mike Romeo.
Thai 408, Singapore radar, good evening. Climb flight level 280.
Thai 408, please confirm the cleared flight level.
Thai 408, climb flight level 280.
Climb flight level 280, Thai 408, thank you. Okay, profile thrust, profile climb, flight level 280 blue. Alright, and I think as soon as we're established in the climb now we can release the seatbelts, and then we're on the way. And then hopefully we should get a little bit, from now on things should get a little bit more relaxed.
Jet 1959, Singapore radar, apologies.
Alright. Seatbelts are off, passengers are released. And the rest here seems to look good, so just a quick check over every system in the flight deck.
Proceed direct Victor,
But everything's looking awesome now.
and contact Singapore
Alright, perfect.
contact local
Let's
radar
take us to a little bit higher range here. Even though a little bit higher in this case just means 12 miles, that's the maximum range we can get out of this.
Have a great day.
That's fine though.
For putting up with the Thai jet 1959.
Alright, so, going a little bit up in the chat right now. Z Polo Z, a bit of a personal question. How did you pay for pilot training? Well, I started to work here in flight simulation and I did some advising and community support with one of the major flight sim developers, and that paid rather well. So I was able to pay my pilot training through that. Now, going
5 Singapore radar, good evening, climb flight level 260.
Climb level 260.
Then, TUI Fly Sim Pilot has asked a little bit earlier, hi Amy, would you recommend this aircraft? I haven't bought it, so I'm wondering, is it like an Airbus version of the 767? Well, that's probably a way to say it, yeah, an Airbus version of the 767. I do suppose that kind of counts. And I would say, yeah, it basically is. I mean, you can really feel the Airbus vibes all over it, but at the same point in time, you know,
Giant 237.
it doesn't feel like all the modern Airbuses. Even though a lot of the logic that you see in the A350 and A380 nowadays is still originating back to these days. So, yeah, I think you would say so. Would I recommend it? That comes down to whether you like to fly the A310. If you're happy to fly the A310, then you're probably also happy to fly the A300. Now, obviously, the A300 is quite a bit more popular with operators, so you can fly a lot more airlines, and you also have the cargo version available, both of which are something that I do really appreciate about the aircraft. We'll have a cargo version of a video coming in the future as well, with the latest version. I really like to fly those. And yeah, I would say that it is definitely a recommendable aircraft. Now, obviously you do need to pay some money for it, but the features it delivers are certainly nice, and well, if you like the A310, then you will like the A300. If you don't like the A310, if you don't like the cockpit, if you don't like the style of how it flies, then you are also not going to like the A300. Now, Airbus obviously built the A300-600 to be as common as possible with the A310, so you can see that fleet commonality was one of the very early things with Airbus, pretty much from the beginning on.
Climb flight level 30.
Climb level 380, direction 655.
Direction 655, negative, climb flight level 280.
Non-tapad, will I be flying the A380 when it comes out from fly-by-wire? I'm pretty sure it will. I mean, I just hope that the cockpit is going to look as good as their recent modifications, but provided that is the case, I am pretty sure that I'm pretty sure about it. Then, Hambagini, do I think we will see the Honeywell Primus added to the A300? I do believe iniBuilds said something about that. It's been a little while, so don't quote me on it, but I do think I remember them saying that they wanted to offer that at a paid expansion pack at a later point. So yeah, I do think that's very much possible that we are going to see the Primus avionics added later on. Then, Foodie, I mentioned that the A330 Rolls-Royce has more responsive engines than the General Electrics. The spool up in the videos looks incredibly long though in the Rolls-Royce, or is it just the sound? Well, let's put it that way. When you are in ground idle, so I do believe you're referring to videos showing takeoffs in the A330 in the cockpit. When you're in ground idle, then it does indeed take longer than the GEs, but from flight idle onwards, the thing is more responsive and the thing is more powerful, and that's why I prefer the Rolls-Royce over the GEs. I do hope that kinda helps. And wow, hi, nice to see you here in the chat. Then, Hambagini, do you no, sorry, we had that question already, my mistake. Robin, have I ever flown into Windhoek in real life? Oh yes, I have. It's a lovely airport. 5,500 feet elevation, 30 degrees, 4.6 kilometers runway, but only 45 meters wide, so it looks like it really looks like a very long runway in Windhoek, but it looks like it's super small. Even though it's standard runway size, it just looks like it's super small because it's only 45 meters wide, but 4.6 kilometers long. But overall, really a lot of fun to fly into there. And Nantapad, signing off. We will be watching out, but Bangkok Tower is now calling. Have a good flight. Well, are you the tower controller? In that case, talk to you later, my friend. Blocked.
Okay, Thai 408, contact operator 129.75.
129.75, Thai 408, see ya.
See you.
Singapore radar Thai 410, sir. Now passing flight level 160 for flight level 380.
So, 129.75. Man, our rate of climb is really going southbound here. Don't have the spoilers out or anything, do we? Spoilers in, gear up, flaps up. Wow, that's really bad rate of climb here. Lumpur radar, good afternoon, good evening. Thai 408 heavy, flight level 241, climbing 280.
Thai 408 Lumpur radar, good times in to you, climb level 360.
Climb flight level 360, Thai 408. Set. Okay, flight level 360 blue. It's still really warm outside. It's plus 14 at level 244. That's gotta be a huge eyesight deviation. Does the plane show us that anywhere? So let's see, eyesight deviation, can we find that? Optimum is 351, cruise 360, max 376. Though it doesn't look like the maximum is 376 at the moment. It feels like we're going to max out much earlier. Just 800 feet a minute rate of climb. I mean, I'm honest with you. This is pretty much what the A330 does all the time. The A330 doesn't climb much more than 1,000 feet a minute from flight level 200 onwards. And even below that, it's sometimes below that. I mean, in the 330, the longest I've taken to cruise altitude yet was 39 minutes. But, yeah. And in-flight Ireland, have I flown into East Shetlands Airport before? Yes, I have. And Eddie, have I flown into Rome Fiumicino? Oh yes. Interestingly enough, I've flown much more often into Rome Fiumicino than out of it, because it was usually at the end of a very long duty previously. So usually what we did was to fly from my home base in Germany over to Palma de Mallorca, then you fly back to the home base, and then you fly out to Rome. Both Rome and Mallorca are both airports that are highly prone to slot delays. So obviously you got those slot delays all the time. Then you had those 2-hour flights every time. So we often ran out of hours when landing in Fiumicino, and then we had to proceed back deadhead, or had to go to the hotel there. So I've flown into Rome Fiumicino a lot more often than I've actually flown out of it. And TUI Fly Sim Pilot, no, I have not flown into Billund, I'm sorry. Student Pilot, looking forward to flying this route soon in real life myself. Well, I hope so. And Daniel, hi Amy, knowing that Phoenix will release the IAE soon for their A320s, will you make a comparison video between the two engine types? Example, how EPR versus N1 differs alongside general operations, performance and procedures. I absolutely will, my friend. I absolutely will. And I can give you a little bit of general theory on operating EPR-based engines already if you want to. So, in general, the EPR engines, even though they have EPR as the top gauge, and even though your immediate thrust lever position is going to command an EPR, they are still flown based on N1. The reason behind that is because EPR is going to differ based on altitude, and it's easier to fly a plane based on N1 than it is to fly based on EPR. So even when you're flying an airplane equipped with EPR engines, then you would still just use the N1 readout that you find at the bottom of the display in order to operate the engine. And that's pretty much the largest difference there is, you know. You still fly them based on N1. The EPR gauge is there. If the EPR gauge fails, by the way, you don't have auto thrust available anymore, as I recently had to find out, for 8 hours. Luckily the computer could reset itself after a little while, so we didn't have to fly an entire 8 hours without auto thrust. But, well, then Wasserleitungsklaus, interesting username there. If you would have any possibility, what would you like to change on Airbus aircraft? Well, that's a good question. What would I like to change on Airbuses? I would perhaps like to make the manual thrust lever range a little bit larger, so that you can control the engines as accurately as you can control the engines on a 737. On the 737 you can control the engines down to a percentage of N1. So you can set your thrust down to about 0.3 to 0.5% N1. On Airbus though, you can control them down to about 2% N1 only, which, you know, makes it a little bit harder to fly the plane like that. I would probably think different about it if I started on an Airbus and if the 737 was not my first plane type, but, you know, I learned to fly them down to the decimals, and for that reason I probably like to control them a little bit more precisely.
541, Roger, reduce Mach decimal 78.
What on earth? Reduce from 8.5 to 7.8. I mean, why do they try to do separation now at all? I mean, normally what happens is, in the en route environment, it doesn't really matter too much if aircraft don't keep the lateral separation, provided they are vertically separated. And then when you get closer to your destination, that is usually when they need to start working on getting those aircraft apart from one another once again. Okay, tad in icing range, but we are definitely not going to get any icing out here. I think that much we can say for sure. Quick look outside, just enjoying the beautiful landscape. That should be Malaysia here, I believe. Yeah, Lumpur Radar, that got me Malaysia. And it's beautiful to see what all the different parts of the world looks like. I said that on my flight over in India already, and I'll gladly repeat it here. It's so incredible how versatile the world really is in all its different places. And by constantly flying only in the same place in our simulator, which most of us tend to do, like I do most of my flying in Europe with a little bit of North America in it. Others do most of the flying in North America, but we barely have people who actually fly all over the world. And that's really something I got to appreciate when I went to fly long haul, like how versatile the planet really is and how different everything is over the planet. Like even in similar regions of the world, say for example the Dominican Republic is completely different from Mexico, even from the Caribbean parts of Mexico, like Cancun for example. And then you go to the other end side on Asia where you've got a similar climate, but things again look completely different, like we can see over here. That's one of the very cool parts of flying long haul. You get to see most of the planet, and you know, everything is completely different depending on where you are. You sometimes really tend to forget about that when you spend most of your time in one place in the world, but when you fly to another, all of a sudden things are like completely different. Like India is completely different from you name it, Bangladesh even, which is close by.
346, number radar, good evening. What's your final request to cruise?
Oh well, that much about me talking about how beautiful it is to fly long haul, but I can really just emphasize that it really is. And Liam, yes, the A300 is at version 1.0.4 now.
Cruise level?
We are requesting
And to VATSIM pilot, what is my dream aircraft and why in terms of cockpit philosophy and the way the aircraft feels? Well, I can't really talk about how it feels, but generally from the looks of the cockpit, I would say the A350 at the moment is my is the one that I want to fly the most. Obviously the 787 is pretty cool as well, but it still has that ugly thing in between your legs. Yes, I know, that's what she said. So the 787 still has that ugly thing in between your legs, while the A350, you know, is spacious. It got the controls on the side like the A330 has, and it's just a super cool looking cockpit in terms of the screens and everything, and also the technology you have available in the airplane. So it's a really, really cool thing.
411, confirm your Mach decimal 78. 411, okay, I'm going to need a little bit more, reduce Mach decimal 77.
Wow, that Thai 411, that I believe that's the 787 we've got in front of us. Flying 77 and Boeing 787, that got to be super uneconomic. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but in his case, I would probably just climb to a higher level if it's possible, and then get a higher Mach number up there as well. But yeah, who knows. We are doing a lovely 0.79 over here, and let's see what is planned in cruise. Yeah, the same. 0.78 even. It's interesting how the A300 really flies that much slower than the A330, which normally cruises at 8.1 or 8.2. And even with 8.2, we still feel like we're the slowest guys over the Atlantic. And Lucas! I'm a trader, yeah, I recognize that, but I tell you honestly, ever since I'm flying Airbus, I really prefer those over the Boeings.
I've never seen anyone get two call signs wrong in one call. Singapore 692, this is Limper Radar, good evening, climb level 340.
Now that was a nice call there. I never heard anyone get two call signs wrong in one call. Well, come to Europe, my friends. You will hear it. You will hear it. Alright, so 2,000 feet to go, then we've made it to a cruising altitude.
Singapore 62, contact Bangkok.
And good to see that by the moment we transitioned onto Mach number, we at least got a halfway decent rate of climb back. This, by the way, climbs much better than the A330 does right now. I mean, we are 28 minutes in the air now, and flight level 340. I've seen worse on the A330. I've seen much worse. Like, up here in those flight levels, sometimes you just get 400 feet a minute, 500 if you're lucky. but normally more like 400 feet a minute, and that is already with all the derates taken out. Sometimes you really have a feeling that the plane is only climbing because of the Earth's curvature, and no other reason at all. On the other hand side, whenever that happens, and when we finally get up to cruising level, then, you know, you do the paperwork, or when you're pilot flying, then you enter all the ETOPS points and everything in your FMS, you send out the oceanic clearance, all of a sudden you look at the clock and the first hour of the flight is gone already. When I'm thinking back to the times where I was flying the 737, where we often did flights that lasted for 45 or 50 minutes, nowadays I'm like, man, I'm happy I don't need to do that anymore. Well, saying that, my next flight is going to take me down to Africa. I got a couple days off now because my last flight has actually been cancelled. So, I was at the airport 1,000 ago. I was at the airport and showed up for duty, and they were like, yeah, sorry, you can go back home again. And we were like, well, thank you. I just drove 2.5 hours to get there. But going back to what I was about to say, you know, that got me a couple off days now. But my next flight is going to take me to Africa, flying 4 sectors, a long one getting down there, then a day off. And thereafter I've got, you know, a day where I can, or where we just do a very short flight over to...
What is your Mach number?
Well, that's interesting. The Thai 411 is still getting
negotiated. That's a lie.
Man. Interesting. I've never heard a controller tell a pilot that he's lying about his speed.
The guy in front of you is Mach 78. His ground speed is 483. How is it that you're Mach decimal 77 and going ground speed of 520? That's a 40 knot difference. Are you on live weather?
Man, I'm listening to that conversation. He's scolding that pilot. Even though he could probably say it a little bit nicer.
Singapore 720, contact Bangkok control 13.
Okay, flight level 360. Let's do a quick fuel check.
2.1, Singapore 720, selamat malam.
Malam.
Where is it? Okay, here it is. Topper climb. 15 minutes. Yeah, no. Should have 10 tons on board. We've got 11.7.
411, thank you.
That's fine.
Fixing the problem.
Well, I wonder why the controller just talked to him like that instead of just asking him for a wind check. I mean, flying on real weather is required by VATSIM regulations, but sometimes weather add-ons just mess it up, and then it's not the pilot's, then it's not the pilot's guilt, you know? The pilot just flies what he's instructed by the controller, and then...
710, your frequency?
And Lime McCoy sounds a lot more polite than the Southern European VATSIM scoldings. Yeah, that's right, but with the Southern Europeans one, I just scold them back, you know? And name Howitzer, how many flights do you do on average a month for Eurowings? 0, because I don't fly for Eurowings.
Request 400 per 129.
Alright, so, now that we listened to that, back to what I was about to say earlier on. So my next flight is going to take me down to Africa, then got a day off over there where I'm hopefully going to do a nice safari, and thereafter we do a quick half-an-hour flight somewhere and then back, and then the day thereafter we're going back to Frankfurt. So that's going to make a nice 6-day trip, and I really hope that the safari is going to be worth it, but I likewise hope that the weather is going to be good, that on the short trip over in Africa I'm actually going to see something. That'd be really nice. Especially since it's my first trip going into that direction. I mean, I've flown other African routes, but at least that particular one I've never been to so far. So, really looking forward to that. And name Howitzer, in general, we do about four long hauls per month. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, you know, depends a little bit on how long the actual flights are. You do flights where you do minimum rest, where you only do, you know, 24 hours at a destination. For example, when you go to the United States, you got that a lot of the time. But then you also have somewhere you got an entire week's long layover, which is also something that is worth having every now and then. Especially when that is in the Caribbean with a nice beach, which I am certainly not going to complain about. Really looking forward to the end of the month where I'm going to fly to the Caribbean with 2 full days layover twice in a row. So really looking forward to that time at the beach once again. But for now, you know, it's nice to have a couple of off days as well, because, you know, 4 long hauls a month is a lot. It's really a lot. Okay, so we made it all the way to cruise. Unfortunately, we don't have access to our it doesn't look like we've got access to our en route charts, which is a pity. I would really hope that eventually we are going to get those.
Can you send that via text, please?
Yeah, may I have air altitude and even portable.
I think he wants to climb, does he? I think he wants to climb.
Me too. Singapore 692. Yeah, what altitude would you like?
That was nice. That was nice. Me too. And in-flight Ireland, that's a very good question there. What is my opinion on the one pilot cockpit? Will it happen, and if it does, how long do you think it will take to implement? Well, I do think that seeing single pilot cockpits is going to be quite a while off. First of all, we need some regulation at hand, which is going to take at least 10 years to make. Then we need aircraft to get certified to fly with it, which is going to take another 10 years to make. And then we got to solve the problem of training new pilots on those single pilot aircraft. Obviously, you could say that, well, we might just build 2 pilot versions of the aircraft and then train those pilots on them. Well, that works in the military on fighter jets, but that is not going to work in civil aviation, for the reason that, you know, I'm flying for 6 years now, and in those 6 years I did like, what, 3,500, 4,000 hours, something about that. I stopped counting them a while ago. But I would say that by now, you know, I probably got enough hours, or would feel confident to fly as a commander since, you know, 2 years or so, earliest. But that in turn means that prior to that I did 4 years of flying, feeling happy as a first officer. But would you really want to build a trainer aircraft that you need to fly for on 4 years before they can put you in a single pilot environment? Well, that is definitely going to be an issue. And that is an issue which I really don't know how they could solve it. And that's the overall problem, you know, being able to train those aircraft and operating in single pilot environment, you know, for the single pilot to gain the experience he needs. That is the big problem with single pilot cockpits. I do assume that all the problems like physiological needs, like a pilot needing to leave the cockpit to go to the toilet, that could probably all be solved with technology, you know, that the autopilot could back it up, or that you could maybe get some handheld controls, or that, you know, whatever they come up with. I do believe that technology could advance enough to enable single pilot cockpits. But what I don't see happening is the ability to train pilots to fly single pilot. Because you could take the current generation of experienced pilots and put those in those aircraft, but what are you going to do afterwards? And that is the big problem I see. Nobody is going to put pilots into, you know, simulating line flying for 4 years until they feel confident enough to put them into an airplane. What I do see happening earlier, though, is a 2-pilot cockpit for long-haul aircraft. Right now, on long-haul, you, according to European regulations, you can do flights that last for approximately 10 hours before you need to think about getting a third pilot or a senior first officer, or whatever the concept the airline applies. So that is something that you need to address, and something so reducing the cruise portion of the flight from a 3-pilot cockpit to a 2-pilot cockpit is done already, but reducing the cruise portion, and only the cruise, not anything close to the climb, descent, or on the ground. But anything below that, anything above that in cruise, that could be handled by a single pilot, provided you come up with technical means to prevent that pilot from getting fatigued or from getting tired. And I do believe that is going to be possible somehow, but the ability to reduce the amount of pilots required for long-haul flights greater than 10 hours from 3 pilots down to 2 pilots, that is something that I could certainly see coming with the next generation of aircraft. And Circles Gaming, hi, nice to see you here. Emmanuel, I just left Dublin in the ATR. It cracks me up all the vectors that I get when in the ATR to get the hell out of the way of the big jets. I can understand you. I can totally understand you. I really do. Then, also from Circles Gaming, Emmanuel, what has the average length has been of your long-haul flights? Just curious. Well, the average, I would say, is somewhere about between 9 and 10 hours. Going westbound, obviously, they are a little bit longer. I tend to say the average is above 10 hours. But then going eastbound, you usually do more like 8 or 9 hours. Usually even 8 hours, coming back from the Caribbean or from the USA. So I tend to say if we end up somewhere about 9 to 10 hours, that's probably going to hit it rather well. Okay, then, name howitzer, tell me your thoughts about American IFR clearance versus European IFR clearances. Well, honestly, we got to make a difference here between VATSIM and between the real life. In the real life, you just log on to the CPDLC over there, so you log on to KUSA, and then you automatically get your clearance. Works very well. They give you a full IFR clearance. Perfect. It's easy going. In Europe, you send your PDC request, they get back to you with a clearance. Same. I mean, it's really the same. On VATSIM, when they do these long things with expect level 350 10 minutes after blah 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 blah, you know, that would be rather annoying. But in the real world, I haven't had problems with that. Not at all. In the real world, it's usually straightforward on CPDLC. So, look outside. I just keep looking at the awesome landscape. I really like it. I really do. And ANS 777, do I ever miss the short haul life? No, not at all. Really happy with long haul. Then Eddie, what do I think about the new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024? I'm really excited for it, but I'm a little bit careful with all their marketing talk before the release. I still remember the marketing talk with Microsoft Flight Simulator, so the current one. And they talked so much about how the entire thing would work with simulating the airflow over the aircraft and such, and then we get to the actual flight dynamics and they suck. So, they've done quite a bit to make them better now since the original release, and I do believe they have reached quite a good compromise there at the moment. But obviously they could still work on the flight dynamics, and for that reason I just find it very hard to believe that they are promising so much about the flight dynamics again, while they did the same last time and just didn't deliver. So, who knows? On the other hand side, I am very sure that FS 2024 is going to have some really awesome surprises coming up, and I am very positive that it is going to become a very good simulator. But whether it is going to be very good in the points that marketing is talking about now, or whether it is going to be very good in some other terms, we'll have to see. 132.1, Thai 408, good day. So 132. decimal 1.
Hi, Asia.
Bangkok Control, good evening. Thai 408 Heavy, flight level 360.
Thai 408, Bangkok Control, hello, identify flight
Alright. So, do we have any indication? Top of descent 0624, so that's in like 45 minutes. Awesome. So we do have some time left here.
National 655, Bangkok Control, hello, identify flight level 380.
You know, honestly, the entire area here looks so amazing. Really love it. Federico, hi, I just got my frozen ATPL. What airline can you advise to send the application? Honestly, any that would take you, where you don't have to do pay to fly. Any airline is a good start, you know? Even if it's a low cost or where you don't earn a lot of money, you know, as long as you don't actually pay to fly, grab any job you can, gain some experience, and then you can always just join a proper airline. Thai 408, say again.
408, maintain highest or greatest practical Mach number, please.
Thai 408, roger, we are increasing to Mach decimal 82.
Thank you.
Okay. So that is selected speed and Mach 82. Let's see how long it is going to take now to accelerate, because we are really we really got an enormous ISAT temperature deviation here. Normally you should be minus 56 up here, and it's minus 44, so that means but a temperature deviation of 12 degrees. So let's see how well the airplane is going to accelerate or not. Alright then, Circles Gaming, what airports are you regularly hitting these days in the United States? So it's quite a bit of Philadelphia, then Tampa, Orlando, Fort Myers, Las Vegas. Mostly these. Mostly those are the kind of US airports that I fly into. Used to fly to Atlanta as well, that was pretty nice, but we no longer do, unfortunately. And to fly sim pilot, would I recommend becoming a pilot in the Air Force to get the pilot license? Well, not really. But that's a personal thing there. Personally, if they give me a fighter plane, I probably just couldn't pull the trigger. And for that reason, I would not recommend to become an Air Force pilot. However, if you don't have a problem with that, and if you otherwise can't finance the training, then by all means, the Air Force is an option to become a pilot. So that's pretty much all that I could say about that. And Crimson Ghost, how do I like Tampa? Honestly, I really like it. Where do I start? Well, first of all, it's a very short way to go to Clearwater Beach. It is not too long to go to the Kennedy Space Center, which I did on my last Tampa layover. That's really all points for me to like Tampa. Now the city itself, there's a couple of very nice diners in the area. I really like riding across the bridges in Tampa Bay. You know, get a bicycle and just take a long and extensive ride over there. That's something that I really enjoy doing. And Rohit, a question on the long-haul lifestyle. Many YouTube pilots who vlog make sure that they show that they are in the gym. Is this event viable? Like, do you actually have the time? you do have the time to go to the gym, and quite a couple of colleagues actually like to do it. Now, obviously one reason for that is that you are sitting for very long times in the aircraft. So, going to the gym really is something that you are encouraged to do. Now, on the other hand side though, there are many posers among aviation YouTubers, and obviously they want to show off their super healthy and super good lifestyle, and then you've got those guys sitting in the cockpit with you and they just keep eating all the sweets they can get, you know. So whenever you're watching something on social media that goes for any channel, probably even my own, even though not knowingly, but I'm pretty sure I've got some of these behavior traits on the channel as well that I'm just not very aware of, but you know, most people try to portray themselves as something better than they actually are on social media, and you know, yeah, people go to the gym on layovers, that's without a question. Like when you look into the layover apps that the airline has with all the recommendations, you can pretty much always find something about gyms in the area or the hotel gyms and what's recommendable there and what is not. So you can usually find some information about that, and people certainly use them, but you know, are all of them going to go there every day for so much time? I doubt it. Now, regarding if you actually have the time to go to the gym, that you absolutely have. And the reason you got all that time is usually your layovers are at least 24 hours long. Let's say your airline is operating a daily flight, then obviously, you know, then obviously that means you land somewhere, you go to the hotel, and then you maybe picked up some 20 hours later. And in those 20 hours you can do whatever you want. So it is certainly recommendable to find yourself a good hobby that you can do there, and you know, going to the gym certainly is healthy at least. And Adrian, yes, I do like long hauls much more than medium and short hauls. Now, it might of course be a thing, you know, because it wasn't just a change from short to medium haul to long haul. With that came a change of company to a much nicer company that treats their employees a lot better. With that came the change from flying the Boeing 737 to the A330. And you know, there is a saying around saying that, well, Boeing built an awesome airplane with the 737, but then they remembered they had to put a crew in it. And that is very true. The 737 is an awesome airplane, but for the lifestyle as a pilot, as a work plane, as an office, there are really other aircraft that I prefer. Now, let's just take a moment, by the way, talk about aircraft that you prefer, and just go to the back for a little to have a look at the cabin there.
Let's go to 606. Ah, there we go. Actually, now we have to stay with you a little bit longer.
So, we'll just take seat 1 Alpha over here, one of the first class seats, or the business class seats at least. Enjoy the views outside. It's incredible how quiet it is in here, isn't it? But for those of you who primarily fly economy class, you know, it really gets that quiet in the front of aircraft. You know, when you no longer have the sounds of the air hitting the front of the plane, but you don't have the sound of the engines yet. That's why all the business classes are located so far in the front. Now, Liam McCoy, I never thought pilots could be posers, thought that was reserved for metal music and skating. Hey, nothing against metal, huh? And In-Flight Ireland, your Bravo throttle arrived yesterday after my Honeycomb video. It's awesome and I'm really happy with it. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Honestly, the entire story on Honeycomb, I read that post and many people said that post was, you know, not professional and stuff like that. But let me tell you my honest opinion on it. Flight sim companies are usually not professional companies. they are usually run by enthusiasts who, you know, just want to do the best they can for the community. That's like my channel as well. You know, I'm doing that because I'm enthusiastic about flight simulation and because I like to share that knowledge with other people. That's the reason I'm running the channel. Now, I know that there are some rumors, or let's just call them outright conspiracy theories, that I would only do it for the money. But believe me, if I would just tell my airline, just give me a fifth long haul every month, then that time would probably be invested, you know, making a lot more money than making YouTube videos. That much is for sure. Now, you know, the primary reason for running flight sim businesses is usually because you share that passion about aviation and because you want to do something in aviation. Needless to say that you can earn some good money with flight simulation, be it by you know, be it by constructing flight simulation hardware like the Honeycomb guys do, or be it by developing add-ons. You can make good money out of that. That's completely out of question. However, you know, if you go into other sides of, if you were to invest that energy into other kinds of businesses, you could probably make more money with it. So at least in terms of money, it's not really worth it. So the thing that really drives flight sim businesses is passion. And if we take everything that the Honeycomb guy has written for granted, not saying everything necessarily needs to, but if we just take it for granted, then we really can make up that picture of somebody who thought he was doing something very good and who had very good products. Because let's be honest over here, the Honeycomb products are probably best in business there. Especially the Bravo throttle. I went over so many different throttles over the past 15 years that I've been in flight simulation, and none of them has been as excellent as the Bravo really is. That was from the first time I saw it at a show like a couple years back when they had the prototype at the FS weekend in Lelystad. You know, from that moment on, I loved the Bravo. So when I got it 2 years ago on Christmas, then I just loved it from the first moment on. Now, it is an awesome product. It's priced very competitively, and there is nothing even close that holds up to what the Bravo offers. So when that guy came out with the problems Honeycomb has, I really thought like, yeah, I feel him, because he probably did not found Honeycomb. Or, man, what a difficult thing to say. He probably did not found Honeycomb just because he thought it was the greatest way how he could make money, but he probably founded the company because, you know, they because it was his passion. And then he partnered with somebody who, yeah, basically betrayed him and turned the entire thing upside down. I can completely understand why he's been so upset, and then I can also completely understand why he's writing a post like that. And honestly, I do think we would see that more in flight simulation if it wasn't about all those riots on the internet taking people apart for showing feelings, you know? You show a feeling, you say what you think about something, you show your opinion, and immediately some people on the internet start pointing at you and start saying what an unprofessional bloke you are. Honestly, I think we need more of these people who actually do these things out of passion. I really think we needed more of them. And if we had those, then the flight simulation world would definitely be a better place. Alright, so that much about my little rant about those riots. Now complaining about Honeycomb for doing what they're doing. Honestly, I believe the Honeycomb guy is rather honest in what he's saying, and I do believe he's making great product, and that's why I called for people to support him. And I just did myself. I just bought myself the Airbus throttles and the flap kit, which I did the unpacking video about, and I will do a video soon about my first impressions using them. I am using them right now on my live stream. So my very first impression, just to cut it short, is that I really love the feeling of these things. It really adds a lot to the immersion. But I will go into some more details on a dedicated video in order to give you guys some more details about that. Now, let's head straight back into the cockpit, because I just want to see how far I am from the top of descent. But overall, rest assured, you know, I'm pretty sure that Honeycomb guy is an honest guy, and one might say that it sounds unprofessional what he's doing. Honestly, I think it just shows how passionate he is about his company and about his products, and rightfully so. He is doing excellent products, and I do think he has all the rights to be proud of them. Alright, so let's take a seat back into the captain's seat over here, and let's close that door again. Here we go.
Negative, 358, we are
Alright, so that much about my little 5 minutes of talking about this topic. And Sam is asking, what do you think, when do you think the 777 will be released? I think the 777 will be released when PMDG is certain that it reached a good state, similar to the initial version of the 737, perhaps a little bit greater even, because they obviously will have learned from their experience with the 737. And I do believe that they are going to release the 777 as soon as they think that they've got a good and solid product that you guys can enjoy. PMDG luckily is not the kind of company that would do all this, yeah, early access bullshit. I mean, yeah, they did call the 737 an early access when it was first released, because they plan to add features later. But let's be honest over here, if we do compare the status of the 737 when it initially released with the status of, you know, other early accesses we get, then I'm pretty positive that they will reach a very good point. So, Liam McCoy, are your throttles at uneven positions in-game, even though they are even in real life? I've had that problem with the TCA throttle, and I don't know if it's universal. Could you just expand on exactly what you mean with uneven position? I mean, if you mean that you need to place them slightly apart from one another, let's say, for example, you needed to place them, you know, like... Oh, what's it doing? No, don't go to idle! Hey, where's my throttle control? What is that shit doing? Okay, auto thrust on.
3, 4, 6, 15 minutes.
That was strange. My throttle control isn't working. Okay, auto throttle on. I got no idea what I just broke, but I really got no idea what I just broke, but looks like whenever I'm disconnecting auto thrust, my throttles are going back to idle. We don't want that. Okay, so it's going to be auto thrust for the rest of the flight. That much is for sure. By the way, great little lesson to show you guys what you would do in the real world if something starts breaking. You know, I pressed the auto thrust disconnect button and the thrust lever straight away went into the idle position. So obviously, since I couldn't get him to move forward with my physical throttles, the first thing for me to do was just to press the auto thrust button again, reverse what you just did, and surprise, the auto throttle can control the thrust levers. I really don't know what's going on there. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting to see that a little bit later in the arrival. But, yeah, as always, first thing when something goes wrong is to reverse what you just did that caused it to go wrong. Alright, so, let's see, we're approaching Tonic. Can we do a fuel check over here? Do we have any data for that? No, of course not. Let's see, we're an hour in the air. Which waypoint do we have there? Well, Uptok and then Alumo are the ones we got for the fuel check. Tell you what, let's go ahead and quickly mark Alumo on here. Where's my fix info page on this one? Do we have a fix info page on this? I honestly don't know.
Bangkok Center, info 1.
Well, this works different than the A330, that much I can tell you. Okay, in any case, we'll just think about doing a fuel check over at Alumo. We'll just think about it ourselves. We need to do one fuel check per 60 minutes of flight, so we did one at the Topper climb, which was like half an hour into the flight, so if we do the next one at Alumo, that's going to be perfectly fine. Then we have like 45 minutes in between the fuel checks. Then, Phoenix Galaxy, will I revisit the FSR 500 or the Learjet 35? I would love to revisit the FSR 500, but back in the day when I got the plane for the review, I only got a Google Drive link from the developer and not a full marketplace assignment, because apparently he's limited in the number of copies he can give out. So for that reason, I can't get hold of any updates of the airplane. I just got a one-time version that I could review back in the day, but I can't get the updates. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but that means that I can't get the latest copy of the plane. I will absolutely have a look at the Learjet soon again. I might just record it over the next couple of days actually, because why not? But these guys are updating the airplane so quickly. If I were to record a video, which then turns out to be like 20 gigabyte, which my videos often are in 4K, and then by the time I've uploaded that, by the time YouTube has processed it, he's probably released a new update for the Learjet already. So I will have a look into it again, but we'll have to see when that's going to be. But I will probably record it over the next couple of days, because I do have a couple of days now, and hey, why not? Okay, that's the top of descent coming into view. I mean, we've still got plenty of time left, but there is the top of descent coming. If we just take a look outside, no sign of any land here, is there? Nope. Okay. Beautiful looking airplane though. I really like the outside of the A300. It probably just reminds me of the A330, but I really like it. Alright then, back inside. So, and Tom Finlay, more Fokker please. Honestly, I would love to do a little bit more Fokker, but people just don't watch it. That's my experience with the Fokker 28 videos. Honestly, I really like the Fokker 28, and I would love to fly it more on the channel, but people don't watch it. That's all I can say. If I do a flight with the A300, for example, there are like 2 or 3 times more people watching it than doing a flight with the Fokker. And obviously, while I mostly do the videos just because I love doing them, I do to a certain extent also have to listen to what people like and what people don't like. And unfortunately, people don't really seem to like the Fokker. So there are so many other aircraft though that I can fly that honestly I'm a little you know, I'm not going to run out of content. That I'm sure about.
610 turn left.
Now, Simone, ciao Emanuel, about the 737, what is the difference from the engine and electric hydraulic pumps, I suppose? The difference is the engine pumps are driven by the accessory gearbox in the CFM56 engine, and therefore they provide about 6 times more output pressure than the electric hydraulic pumps, which are driven by an electric motor. So, obviously the electric pumps are there for the ability to pressurize the hydraulic system at any time where the engines are not running, be that on the ground or in flight, in case of engine failure. So that's why you've got the electric pumps, but the engine-driven pumps produce 6 times more output pressure than the electric pumps. And Crimson goes, we need a highly detailed 727 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I fully agree with you, and the good thing is FS Reborn, the guys behind the FSR 500, are actually working on one. So I'm really looking forward to that. A high detailed 727, really looking forward to that. Then in-flight Ireland, what do I think about getting a degree before doing pilot training? Is it worth the time and effort and the benefit of having the backup option? And do airlines look at you more favorably? Now, it can absolutely never hurt to get a degree before becoming a pilot. You know, a pilot license, depending on the country, here in Germany a pilot license is worth nothing. In other countries, like in France, it counts similar to a bachelor degree, but not in Germany. In Germany, a pilot license is, yeah, a license to move an object, just like a driver license. So just because you got a driver license, you are not a taxi driver, you know? And likewise, the German government says, just because you got a pilot license, you're not a pilot. As stupid as it sounds, but for that reason, yeah, it is certainly a way that if you got a topic that would interest you, if you got something you would like to study, you know, do it. On the other hand side though, when you become a pilot, you will have plenty of time available, be it on layovers, be it on off days, whatever. And I know quite a couple of pilots who just work 50% part-time because they are still studying something. Even a lot of our cabin crew are doing that. And for that reason, you can still study something after you became a pilot in first place. In my personal opinion, I would recommend to do the pilot license first and then go study something next to the job later. For the reason that the earlier you start building seniority, the lesser time to command you have. And the lesser time to command simply means earning more money over your entire lifespan, because as a commander you will obviously be paid better than as a first officer. So for that reason, I would personally recommend to do the pilot's license first and then go study something afterwards. You will have sufficient time as a pilot to study something, there is no question about that. Be it flying long haul, be it flying short haul, you will have sufficient time. Especially if you just go part-time, 50% or so. You know, part-time on long haul means that you do like a maximum of 2 long hauls per month. So in the best case, that turns out to be like 10 days of work and then 20 days off. Even less if you just do the very shortest of flights. That is really something that I would personally say everybody can do. And it is going to earn you seniority, flight hours, everything. So, in my opinion, first do the license, then do the degree.
Just 120, you're cleared.
And Alpha Tango, hi Emmanuel, are there any updates on the overpriced TFDI MD-11? That's how you wrote it, not how I said it. Yeah, they do post updates every now and then, but honestly, they are slower than I would think. And yeah, I will probably do a new video with the latest update over the next, you know, over the next course of time. And Tobias Janssen, what will be my first flight with the Phoenix V2 Block 2? I haven't decided on that. I am going to decide on it when it comes out. So when I got it on my computer, that's when I'm going to check. Alright, these are the airlines operating the IAE engines. These are the options I have flying with it now. So this is what I'm going to do. But I'm not planning these things ahead of time. I'm just doing them the moment I like to do them. Obviously, provided I'm not flying on the day on release, there will be a video very, very soon after release. And provided I'm not sitting in an African hotel where I don't have any internet connection. But apart from that, I will have a look at it as soon as it comes out. I'm really looking forward to the latest iteration of the Phoenix. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure it is going to be an awesome airplane. That much I can say already. That much I can say, because the guys at Phoenix, they do know what they're doing. There's a couple of stuff in their airplane at the moment, like the flap 3 landings, where I'm like, okay guys, you should really update that now. But overall, they know what they're doing. And even though they purchase most of their stuff from third parties, like most of the systems I bought from ProSim, for example, they still pick very good third parties to get their stuff from, so overall they are building very good aircraft. And I'm positive the IAE update is going to be just that as well.
Flight 36 request descent.
And Adrian, that's an interesting question up there. I believe you said that in the context when I said that I don't fly the Fokker 28 so much on the channel because people don't like to watch it that much. Now, in that context, you asked, so why don't you fly what you like rather than listening to what people like? Well, honestly, outside of YouTube, I absolutely do fly what I like. I do quite a couple of flights in my sim that people would just not bother to watch. On the other hand side, however, I'm running a YouTube channel, so catering for what the audience wants to see is definitely playing a role. You know, I could just do, I could just do only 737 flights or only 320 flights and stuff like that, but people wouldn't like it. And running a YouTube channel means that you don't only do everything you like. Obviously, I do like all the flights I do, otherwise I wouldn't do them. That's out of question. But, I still want to present people what they want to see, if you know what I mean.
3612 cleared the only 3 Charlie arrival, expect pilot 19 left. Descend flight level 160.
Then, Ali Dobson. Hi Emmanuel, loving the stream and your insight. I'm looking forward to what iniBuilds can do with the A220 they have just partnered with. I really hope they nail the engine sounds. Yeah, I really hope that as well. I did my first A220 flight last year, as a passenger obviously, and it was an awesome airplane to fly on, so shout out to Swiss for their A220. That was really, really a good flight. Contrary to their A321 flight thereafter, which totally sucked. But the 220 really is an airplane I'm looking forward to. We'll have to see how those complex iniBuilds aircraft are going to turn out, because obviously we do have things like the A300 from them now, which are very good, but iniBuilds are yet to develop an airplane as complex as the A350 or the A220. That's going to be a completely different league in which they have to play with those aircraft. So, who knows what it's going to turn out into? I'm very eager to see it, but let's say it would probably be too much to expect iniBuilds to model the A220 or the A350 to the same, to 100% the same fidelity as the A300, because those are just much more complex aircraft, and we will have to see how it's going to turn out, but the time they set themselves to develop those aircraft is rather limited. We don't know how many developers there are on the planes and stuff like that, we don't know any of that, but we can see, for example, with Phoenix or with PMDG, how long it takes to do a study level aircraft, and Phoenix have set themselves quite a bit lesser time than PMDG and Phoenix take to develop their aircraft, while also picking a more complex airplane with the 350. So we will have to see how that's going to turn out. It could become a super airplane if they got the resources, if they hire enough developers and so on, but it could also turn out, rather not so good. We will have to see. They don't have the experience with those aircraft types yet, so we don't know what to expect either. However, I am positive they are going to turn out very good aircraft. The question is just, are they going to be the same level of fidelity as the A300, or are they going to be a little bit lower level, or what exactly are they going to turn into? We will have to see about that. I'm sure they are going to be good add-ons though.
When ready, descend flight level 160.
To Bangkok, Savannah Luna 3 Charlie arrival, runway 19
And
left.
Tobias, do I think iniBuilds will add the wear and tear to the gear of the A220? I don't know. Only iniBuilds themselves know what they plan for those projects, but we will have to see. We just have to see. Then Nathan, hi Manuel, what's the difference between the WinWings side stick and the TCA HOTAS? Just to confirm, TCA HOTAS, you mean the Thrustmaster Airbus stick? Because HOTAS to me more implies the Warthog, but in any case, the difference is, in both cases, that the WinWings, in my opinion, is the most precise stick, and that I can do the most precise inputs with the WinWing stick compared to the others. Now, I will do a separate video on the Thrustmaster Airbus stick soon. All I can say is soon, because I really don't know when I'm going to do it yet. Where I'm really going to go into details. I'll probably also take it to the actual airplane to do a one-to-one comparison between the real one and the Thrustmaster one. But we'll have to see about that. I can't say exactly yet what's going to come when. And Orange Blob, Emmanuel, shouldn't it be nighttime over there? Yes, it should, but people don't like nighttime live streams so much. For that reason, I have simply switched to daytime. I made sure to match the minutes so that in case they ask me for an ETA or something, then I can say like, yeah, that's my ETA. But as you can see here, 21 is roughly correct for the real world time now, which is 20. But apart from that, I just turned to daylight time because people do seem to prefer that. Alright, talk about prefer something. How about we go ahead and grab a couple of charts for our arrival into Singapore, and how about we just go ahead and grab an ATIS in the first place. Provided that this does anything. Here we go. So, D8 arrival 133.6.
Singapore 62, contact approach 124.3.
Looks like the ATIS doesn't work. Okay, so be it. Oh no, they are using different frequencies. 127.65 is what they use. Okay.
First, Singapore 62, contact approach 124.3.
Let's try that.
More. View clouds at 2000. Temperature 29er. 2.24. Altimeter 1013. Arrival and departing. Runway 19er left and 1 minor. Expect ILS approach runway 19er left or 1 minor. Transition level 130. Advise on initial contact. You have information Delta.
Level 160.
Okay, information Sierra 19 left. And that should be it. Alright, so 19 left. I do believe that is what we programmed originally.
Left 330.
Yes, 19 left is in. Where's my chart list gun again?
Bangkok, Vietjet 120.
Alright, so Dolny 3 Charlie. I do believe that is what we are about to do. Let's see. Yep, Dolny 3 Charlie. Awesome. Approach. Gonna be an ILS Zulu 19 left. Gonna pin that one as well. And then the airport itself, I really got no idea where they're gonna park us. But standard taxi route, that certainly sounds like something. Arrival runway 19 right, we don't need that though. Let's find the arrival 19 left, okay. So we take this one. Airport info, we need that. And finally parking stance and coordinates. Main apron. Yeah, that is what we need. Alright, so that is looking good in terms of the charts we need. So just a quick setup here. 10-5, 195.
Airport 403, clear the east, 3 Charlie, arrival, expect ILS 19 left. Then ready, descent level 160.
Cleared east 3 Charlie, arrival, expect ILS runway 19 left.
Minimum's 205.
Level 130.
Confirm flight level 160.
Alright, so
160, thank you.
this much about it. Auto brakes, we'll just go for auto brakes low. And that should be it. Then let's have a look into the actual arrival and what we got in the FMS over here. Okay. Starting at Dolny below level 180, max 280 knots. We got that. On to Beats below level 140 is in here as well. Then to Salsa, max 250 above 10,000.
408.
Thai 408, sorry, go ahead.
408, clear with the Dolny 3 Charlie arrival. Expect left approach runway 19 left. When ready, descend level 160.
Cleared Dolny 3 Charlie arrival, ILS 19 left. When ready, descend level 160, Thai 408. Okay, flight level 160 blue. Did anybody catch how long he's been trying to call us?
3077, you are clear the 3 Charlie arrival.
Okay, so let's continue with our setup over here. So Salsa max 250 above 10,000 is what we got. Then we continue on towards Latin above 7,000. Then we got the bullshit 503 point max 220. And then we've got bullshit 501 and then on towards Echo above 5,000, and that is everything we got in here. Okay, so then we can go on to the approach chart for the ILS 19 left. Could probably have taken the Limos transition. Tell you what, we can still take it.
Singapore 720, contact approach 3.124, that's
No.
124, that's 1350. Have a good night, you too. Singapore 720.
Okay, transitional Limos, that is what we want. So just a quick check to make sure that everything is still where it's supposed to be. Yes, it is. Alright, that's better. So then, Limos, 5,000, max 220 is what we've got. Then thereafter comes Lindsay, 3,500 on towards Lanko. And we've got Lanko 2,500 and then Bullshit 599 at 2,000. Alright, looking good. And then for the missed approach, let's have a look into that. Climb to 1,000 feet on track 195, then climbing left hand direct to Lazen at 3,000. And hold or as directed by ADC. If unable to reach 3,000 by Lazen, continue climbing the holding pattern. Do not turn before missed approach point. For localizer only, speed restricted max 190 until after the turn. Okay, so we've got our turn here, 1,000 feet and 190 knots, left to Lazen, 3,000 feet.
Request to return to our normal cruising speed.
Okay, looks good to me. So for the approach, we're probably going to do a flaps 20 approach because that is going to fit us nicer into the other aircraft. So let's select flaps 20 up there. Then a quick further look into our weather. We just update that over here. 209, so it's going to be 5 knots of wind correction that we will use. Like that. And that's it. Alright. And for the go around, we'll basically leave everything as it is in here. Alright, so auto brakes low. And that's it. Alright, I do believe that's pretty much all of the preparation completed that we could do.
When ready, descend flight level 1.
Then, if you are ready, let's start the approach briefing.
Charlie arrival, runway 19 left.
Alright, so MSA 3,000 around is going to keep us safe. We're basically located in that basin in Bangkok. And Dolmy 3 Charlie arrival, ILS 19 left, minimums 205. We can just select that on the FO side as well. So minimum 205, go around trajectory straight at 1000, max 190 knots, left turn and climbing 3000. Extra fuel and time, let's see what we got now. That is half an hour of extra fuel. Okay, the approach guidance is going to be flight director Elnav VNAV, landing flaps 20, stop margin is more than enough, reversers will be used, auto brakes low. Planned runway exit is going to be to the right hand side, but we'll really just have to see where that's going to be. And they do have standard taxi routes for the way in, so landing 19 left, probably Bravo 10 or Bravo 11, then right onto Bravo, and then we'll have to see what they're going to give us. Okay, hotspots for the taxi-in. There is a hotspot number 2 over here, where we got to make sure that we enter the correct taxiway, either hotel or golf. And apart from that, is there any information on hotspot 2 on here? No, nothing interesting. Okay. Happy with that. Threats for the arrival? I really don't see any. Okay, excellent. That's the arrival briefing complete then. So we did get descent clearance.
Bangkok control, this is just platform 1.
Let's go selected speed. So retard, Mach, Alt, flight level 160 blue. He didn't give us any speed constraint for the descent, so I'm probably just going to go for doesn't tell us the planned speed here, so tell you what, let's make it 300 knots until we convert onto the arrival. I wonder why in profile mode, though it's now descending that quick. Oh, it just went to level change. Superb. Okay, tell you what, in that case, vertical speed. Come on. Minus 1,500. Okay, so that's pretty much it for now. Look at those engines spooling all the way to cruise. Or almost all the way to cruise thrust. Definitely not... oh well, I'm not gonna complain. Ladies and gentlemen from Flightdeck, this is your captain speaking. We've started our descent towards Bangkok with a remaining flight time of about 25 minutes. The weather over there currently pretty nice, only a few clouds at the skies at a temperature of 29 degrees. Would like to thank you very much for choosing Thai Airways for today's flight. Hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to welcoming you again on board of a future service. In the meantime, thank you very much for your attention. Be sure to listen carefully to the cabin crew's instructions on our arrival, and we would now like to say goodbye to you and hope to see you again on board of a future scheduled service. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you all again soon. Alright, so that's these guys now done with. Alright, cool, so that's pretty much this.
Bravo 3077, turn right heading 260 degrees.
So let's convert on to 300 knots unless he tells us anything different, because
408, turn right heading 020 degrees.
Right, 020, Thai 408, and confirm you still want us to fly maximum forward speed?
Affirm for that.
Roger that. What on earth is that guy doing? Heading 020, he's turning us off track, probably for separation, but at the same time tells us to fly fast. That doesn't make much sense. I mean, yeah, that guy over there, he is getting closer, but why tell me to fly faster? Unless that guy is so slow that he wants us to overtake. But then, instead of doing a radical right-hand turn at like 40 degrees off now, he should just have given us an earlier turn to the side then, in order to, you know... Oh well. And John Colley, yeah, that's an interesting comment there. You have two pilot friends that fly in real life and they never want to fly a simulator with you. They say the last thing they want to do on their free time is to fly simulators. How come I don't feel like that? Well, probably because I've been flying flight simulators before I actually became a pilot. I could imagine that to be the primary reason. Okay, retard speed. I could probably imagine that to be the reason. I've been flying flight simulators long before I started flying in the real world. And probably for that reason I just, you know, kept finding flight simulators interesting versus... Yeah, versus thinking like, yeah, well, why would I simulate my real world on a computer? You know? That's probably my probably what sets me apart from quite a couple of the real-world pilots. I mean, I do know some who just use flight simulators.
408, turn left heading 360 degrees.
Left heading 360, Thai 408. Okay, let's increase that rate of descent a little. You wanted us to fly fast, so let's do it. 320 knots.
Echo control, scooter 604 at level 3.
Scooter 604 Alpha, you are identified level 380.
And in-flight Ireland, what age was I when I got my first job on the right seat? 22, I believe.
Singapore 692, you are here from Charlie Amano.
And John Colley, honestly, I don't think you can convince these guys to fly in VATSIM with you. First of all, they're just going to complain about VATSIM because they, you know, VATSIM is a little bit special compared with the real world. So, you know, don't try to force a pilot to do something they don't want to do.
Will we clear to descend any further because we're going a bit high right now?
3612, I tried to contact you many times earlier, okay. Turn right heading...
Okay, so, then Southmore 73 asked a little bit earlier. That question's been a little while ago, so sorry for not replying any earlier. What controls am I using for this flight? Now, I am using my Thrustmaster Boeing Yoke together with the Honeycomb Bravo and the Airbus Throttle kit and the flap kit that I bought recently. And I'm using those together with the Thrustmaster Pendular pedals.
Now, back.
411,
So, what do you guys think? How long is the delay going to be? I certainly don't like the vector we are flying right now.
124350, Thai 36.
Thai 408, how long is the delay vector going to be?
408, hopefully not more than 5 minutes.
Roger, and you still want us to fly maximum speed, confirmed?
Confirmed.
Roger.
Bangkok control, good running outside Yankee, Lima Golf.
Vertical speed. I mean, that really doesn't make sense to me now. Why does he want us to fly maximum speed for a delay vector? If you want delay, then you normally go slow rather than fast.
Uniform Delta Nawan Babylon.
So that's 1,000 to go.
Roger.
408, turn left heading 320, pressure 330.
Left heading 330, Thai 408. I mean, if that vector leads us onto a final now, then I'm all happy with it. But I have a feeling they're going to take us back towards, you know, that waypoint over there, so that we basically fly an S-turned like transition at a speed of 320 knots.
311,
which doesn't make too much sense to me.
Nippon Cargo 254.
But well, let's see what that's going to turn into. We do have fuel for a bit, so let's see that one more time. 24 minutes extra. Obviously, we're burning through the extra fuel very quickly when running at this speed. I mean, look at the fuel flow over here. In cruise, that was somewhere down here at 2 and a bit. Now we're burning almost 4,000 kilos per engine per hour. 124.350 with the heading Thai 408.
Station 655 contact approach 1 today.
Singapore 720, turn left heading 285.
Turn left heading 285, Singapore 720.
Approach hello, Thai 408 heavy, flight level 160, heading 330, speed 320.
Thai Asia, correction, Thai 408, Bangkok approach. Sorry, very good evening. Identified, descend 1000 feet. I've just lost the QNH. So descend 1000 feet for now.
Thai 408 descending 1000 feet on standard altimeter setting. That's called flight level then.
Approach releasing Thai Asia 655 inbound Goni descending.
So let's see, if they do take us straight in now, if they do something like this, then that's perfectly fine. I'm just a little afraid that they might, you know, just turn us back and then make us fly an S-turn like arrival. Well, let's see what they're going to do.
Singapore 720, left heading 225, descend 2000 feet, clear runway 221 and left report established.
If they obviously just take us straight in like this, then ain't gonna complain, huh? We'll have to see about it. We'll have to see what they're going to do.
Thai 3612, turn left heading 205.
Could you repeat this, 5612?
Turn left heading 205.
Turn left 205.
Vertical speed.
China Post 402, fly present heading, descend 5000 feet.
Present heading, descend 5,000, China Post 402.
John Coley, I could sequence the flight plan right now, not with the radial in. The iniBuilds doesn't have that. I'm not sure if the real A300 would, but I'm just not 100% sure if they are not going to send us anywhere to these waypoints again. For that reason, I'm not sequencing it just yet.
408, descend 8,000 feet, and the weather seems to have gone down, so I don't have the current QNH.
Thai 408, descend 8,000 feet, and yeah, we'll remain on QNH 1013. Can we reduce speed below 10,000?
Yes, sir.
Roger. Okay.
China Post 402.
So that's what we're going to do then.
285.
Level change.
Left heading 285, China Post 402.
Hard to say exactly
where
that will take us yet.
Descend 5,000 feet, Thai Asia 1959.
But I think it's going to be straight in. I don't think this is still a delay vector.
Just be sure that they're left to Thai Asia 358.
So tell you what, let's go direct Limos in here, and in case that changes, we can always still reset it.
China Post 402, turn left heading 225, intercept the localizer, descend 2,000 feet.
Left on heading 225, intercept the localizer, descend 2,000 feet, China Post 402.
Vertical speed. That's just to ensure that our speed is actually going down below 250 now. So, lights on, signs on, constraints
Singapore 720,
are selected.
160 until 6 miles.
GPS primary, high accuracy,
Singapore 720 unable to...
and mode selector is
The plane has an
off.
issue, unable to 6 now final. The tower is off.
Alright,
Singapore 620, roger, disregard the instruction.
approach checklist. Signs
Singapore 720, roger. Descend this slowing down to
on,
160.
briefing confirmed, ECAM status checked, altimeters.
Thai 408, turn left heading 300.
Turn left heading 300, Thai 408.
And Thai 408, descend 6,000 feet.
Descend 6,000 feet, Thai 408.
Thai 408, I have the QNH now, and it is 1013.
QNH 1013, Thai 408, thank you. Okay, set QNH 1013. Set, passing 9,900. Now, check.
Feet.
Okay, so I lost the point in the checklist. Let's do the checklist again. Approach checklist. Signs on, briefing confirmed, ECAM status checked, altimeters 1013, minimums 205, set, ignition off, landing elevation 0. Approach checklist complete.
Thai 3612, speed 210 or less.
210 less, Thai 3612.
Thai VZ 19590, descend 3000 feet, cancel level restriction.
And Charlie in the comments, hello Emmanuel, I'm following you on YouTube since a few months and learned a lot through your videos. Actually, I'm a train driver in Germany and simmer, but I want to switch from the rails into the air. Do it, my friend, do it. And Kaeseon, hello Captain. If it is correct to compare it with the 310, which one simulated the more systems and which one is better? Do you have a chance to make a comment? Yeah, definitely the A300 is the more complete simulation. I think that's quite fair to say. The A300 is definitely the better simulation. Look at that, by the way. That's quite beautiful. It's a little bit of a pity that you don't see that much from the cockpit.
To Bangkok approach, very club, identified descent via star to flight level 130.
Okay, so
Zulu
19 left, 110.5 should be India Sierra Echo November. Let's bring that up, see if we can receive anything yet. 110.5 is on there.
Negative.
Confirm heading for Thai VZ
285.
1000 to go.
Thai 408, descend 5000 feet.
Thai 408, descend 5000 feet. Okay, that much about it.
408, speed 220 knots or less.
Speed 220 or less, Thai 408. Okay, 5000 blue, speed 220.
Bravo 3077, Bangkok approach, very club identified. Flight person heading and descend to flight level 130.
So things are getting a little bit more busy right now, so excuse me for not answering every comment in the comment section right now, but be sure that later on after the landing we are going to have a look again.
Left 225 down 2000 will report established. It'll be a Thai VZ 959.
Thai 408, turn left heading 250.
Turn left heading 250, Thai 408.
Thai 3612, turn right heading 140.
Okay, so after all, center did not give us a delay vector, but it was indeed pretty much a straight in, so that is quite nice. I didn't expect that. With the amount of headings they gave and how everything sounded like delays, I did not expect that vector earlier on, 1000 to go. I did not expect that vector to be a straight in. I really expected it to be a delay vector.
Negative.
But that's good.
You can turn left heading 090.
I'm positively surprised. Or maybe my expectations were too low? Well, they're doing a good job right now. It sounds a little bit messy, but they are doing a good job. I really have to say that.
Thai 408, turn left heading 235, descend 2000 feet.
Thai 408, left heading 235, descend 4000 feet.
Negative, descend 2000 feet.
Descend 2000 feet, Thai 408. Okay, that's 2000 blue.
China Post 402, roger, contact tower.
So quite a couple of aircraft here. Okay, one guy coming in 6 miles behind us, the other 6 miles in front of us. Well, we'll simply maintain exactly what ATC is assigning us over here, and then we should be good to go. So have we been cleared for the ILS yet? I don't remember, let's ask.
180 to 160.
Thai 408, are we cleared for the ILS?
Thai 408, cleared ILS Zulu 19 left, report established.
Thank you, cleared ILS Zulu 19 left, Wilco Thai 408. Localizer blue. I'll tell you what, that glide slope looks accurate to me. Glide slope blue.
Thai 3.
Cat 3.
Correction. Thai 411, turn left heading 285, descend 5000 feet.
Left heading 285, descend to 5000 feet, Thai.
So So with an ILS clearance, you usually receive a relief of your speed restriction as well. But I'm just keeping the speed up high over here, because we're still like 20 miles out. And I want to keep myself some options. Vertical speed minus 500 in order to make a nice continuous descent. And at 15 miles I'm going to start slowing down myself.
3612, turn right heading
Lock star.
275.
Right heading
Even though I somehow expect that as soon as we get,
well,
as soon as we report established, we're probably going to straight away get the speed reduction.
Thai Asia 655, turn right heading
Okay, runway heading set.
Right heading 065, Thai Asia 655.
Asia 411, correction, Thai 411, cleared Airbus Zulu 19 left, report established.
Clear Zulu 19 left, report established, Thai 411.
Thai 408 heavy established.
Turn right heading 115, correction, turn left heading 115, and descend to 7,000 feet, unit 1013.
Heading 115, descend 7,000 feet, bridge 1013, Bravo 2,
Thai 408 heavy established.
Thai 408, roger, speed 160, operation until 6 mile final, and contact tower 118.2, bye-bye.
Speed 160 operator until 4 miles, 118.2, Thai 408 heavy, see ya.
Negative 6 miles.
6 miles, even easier.
Correction,
Okay, so that's 15.
402, vacate runway nearest right exit, immediate.
Roger, transport 450.
Tower gate evening, Thai 408 heavy, ILS Zulu 19 left, 160 operator until 6 miles.
Thai 408 tower, 35 continue approach 199.
Continue approach, Thai 408. Okay, flaps 15. Speed checked, flaps 15.
Picture Papa Bravo, wind 1930 degree, 10 knot, runway 19 left, clear for takeoff, immediate takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, Victor Papa Bravo, 4, Victor Victor, hold on.
Okay, we'll have glide slot capture in a few moments at 190 knots. That looks pretty good to me. And then we have a nice CDA. Glide slot star. Go around altitude 3000 set. Little turbulent here. Man, what's that autopilot doing? Look at that! Okay, thanks. I've seen enough. Autopilot off.
Jet 1959er with 190 degree, 10 knot, runway 19 left, clear to that.
Look at that. Flies rather nice, doesn't it? Okay, gear down.
Thai 408, reduce final.
Thai 408, we're reducing final.
The 605 tower.
So look at that, as soon as the autopilot is off, the plane flies pretty nice again. Not sure what that autopilot did there. Okay, flaps 20. And we might just use a little bit of speed brake here. Okay, so final approach speed is going to be 147.
Jet 1959er, vacate runway nearest right exit, Bravo.
Landing checklist.
Exit Bravo.
Landing gear down, auto brakes low, any get checked. Slats flaps 15 and 20, and spoilers armed. Landing checklist complete.
Thai 408, wind 1930 degree, 10 knot, runway 19 left, clear to that.
Runway 19 left, clear to land. Thai 408 heavy.
Thai 411, reduce approach. Final approach speed.
Reduce final approach speed, Thai 411.
Turbulence is rather strong over here, but that is pretty much to be expected. There is so much energy in the atmosphere in Asia that strong turbulence can certainly occur, even though we are looking at mostly cavalcade day over here. Land. Why is it saying sync rate? It's just 1,000 feet a minute.
The 605 behind, arriving traffic high, airways A300, line up and wait 19 left behind.
Interesting. It didn't even say 5 by the time we touched down. We literally touched down between the 5 and the 10 calls. Stand by. Not going to answer anything while we're talking. Okay. No clue what that is. Okay, manual brakes. Hello, kindly take out the auto brake, please. What the fuck is this doing? What are my engines doing? Type 408, we're trying to vacate, but we do have an engine problem. We're logging off, sorry.
Type 408, that is okay.
What the? Okay, disconnecting from VATSIM. What on earth is it doing? Why are the reversers act? Hello? What's it doing? Oh, now we have forward engine thrust. That's interesting. But what the... Okay. Important note over here. Whenever your airplane is going backwards, don't use the wheel brakes. You are going to put it on the tail. Use engine thrust. Okay. This is better. What the F has just happened here? I really have no idea. I really have no idea. Okay, well, tell you what. Let's vacate that runway, make it a right-hand turn onto the main taxiway, and then we will lock on again. Unless the other guy has landed. Well, I don't know. I do suspect there will be... I have no idea. I have just no idea. I have completely no idea what that was. I added forward thrust with my thrust levers on the Honeycomb, and for some reason the airplane... I don't know. I got no idea. That was strange behavior, that's for sure. Okay, so we're exiting the runway now, and I have a feeling by now the other aircraft might have landed, so we better taxi to the gate offline and do that without VATSIM. But this was really, really strange, I gotta tell you. That really was. Okay, so that thing, this. Everything is done up here, so lights can come off, strobes can come off, and we'll start an AP. And finally, the probe heat can come off as well. After landing checklist, slats flaps, pretty much retracted, transponder, XPDR, weather radar. Here we go, that's why we read checklists. Weather radar off, spoilers disarmed, APU started, after landing checklist complete. Okay guys, if anybody of you got a clue what it actually did there, and John Coley, wonder if it was a key binding issue. I don't know, I mean, first the autopilot messed up, and then we got the strange oscillation. Oh, sorry, and first the autopilot messed up with those strange oscillations on the final, where we had to disconnect the autopilot. I mean, remember en route, we had the problem that the thrust levers just wanted to go back into the full idle position, where I had to put auto thrust on again. Perhaps the airplane was thinking something that I was in reverse thrust all the time? I mean, one thing that I did notice after the landing was that the airplane wanted, or rather the airplane increased thrust, but apparently it only increased the amount of reverse power I had available. Because after I stopped, you guys saw how quickly we accelerated backwards. So I'm kinda led to believe that something made the airplane internally think that the thrust reversers were deployed, even though I could still add thrust using my positive thrust lever movement. And I have a feeling this somehow caused the entire airplane to, you know, apply maximum forward thrust, while for some reason the reversers were still active. That's my theory what happened here. Why that could happen, how that could happen, I've got no idea at all. I mean, that got to be a bug in the iniBuilds update, right? Because I never saw any airplane behaving like that on my simulator at all before. So, I don't know. I would probably suspect this to be a bug with the iniBuilds, with the latest update. Perhaps something in the iniBuilds caused that. It's my only idea, really, because the same... You know, the interesting thing is, I saw a couple comments from you guys right now saying that this might be a key binding issue. That is something that I thought about myself, but I used the very same key binding that I always used, which is basically the F2 key on my keyboard. I'm using that for reverse, you know, ever since I'm running the simulator. And for some reason that didn't work. I don't know how that could be a key binding issue, because that is literally what I always used. I mean, what we can say basically is something must have caused this to appear in flight when I'm thinking back to the auto throttle disconnects. But what that could have been, I really don't know. I really don't know. I would probably just send iniBuilds a support message telling them like, here, look at my live stream at timing so and so, and this is what happened. You have any idea what's caused that? And then they can work it out. I believe that is probably the best thing we can do. So, that parking position doesn't seem to indicate anything there. What a lovely end of a live stream, isn't it? Alright, tell you what, we'll just stop it over here, and I don't care. Bleed on, engines off, cabin crew, all doors in park. Right, toggle jetway, toggle ground power unit, toggle chocks. We're definitely going to keep the APU running though. Alright. Let's see what I forgot. Parking checklist. APU bleed on, engines off. Differential pressure, 0, lights set, fuel pumps off, window and probe heat off after... Yeah, sorry, parking checklist complete. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for today then. Now I did promise you that I would have a look at the rest of the comments after landing, so let's take a nice seat somewhere in the business class, relax a little bit, and then we're going to have a look at what you guys said over the past couple of half an hour or so. So again, if you do have some questions or something, then do put them in right now, because now is the moment for it. Alright, so here we are. Let's go ahead and have a look at what you guys wrote over the arrival then. Sure enough, I'm pretty sure there would have been a couple of interesting comments in there. Then, Sir Kelt Gaming. Emmanuel, the oscillation issue happens when ATC brings you on at a much higher speed than your V approach. The A300 does absolutely not like catching the glide slope above like 180 knots. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, that's a possibility of what could have happened here, even though I've never had that before, and I do believe I can say that I flew a couple fast approaches. But I will absolutely keep that in mind and have an eye on that on my next flight for sure. And Bam Jajapani, shame you encountered the bugs, but anyways, welcome to Bangkok. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Honestly, next time we'll probably take a different airplane, but apart from that, sure enough again. And John Colley, thank you for the stream, Emmanuel, and thank you for what you're doing to the flight sim community. Thank you very much, John. That's really appreciated. That is really appreciated. Then Ductas, is pressing the land button below the vertical speed display the same as pressing approach in Boeing or Airbus? Yeah, pretty much. Basically, you got the VOR localizer button down there, and next to that you got the approach button, which is called land in the A300. Fair enough, but it does the same thing. Then, going a little bit further up. The flight line, was that little mishap an issue with the ini product or your keybinds? Well, I didn't change my keybinds at all in, 2 years' time, so I'm pretty sure it was an issue with the iniBuilds. Or maybe an issue with Microsoft Flight Simulator in general? Not 100% sure. In-flight Ireland, if you could pick any retired aircraft to fly, what would you choose? Well, good question. The MD-11 or DC-10? Because I've always been a fan of the DC-10. So probably that. Probably that one. Alright, then let's go a little bit further up in the comments past the landing, because I did saw there were a couple of questions there. So, John Colley, how good does it feel in the Airbus now not having to put in an ILS frequency all the time? Honestly, it doesn't make a difference because you're still checking that the ILS frequency is correct. So you're still looking at it anyway. So going a little bit further up then. K. Sehan, I believe I did answer that comment before. I think I haven't missed any questions, but if I missed any of you guys, any of your questions, then do let me know in the comments below. I'll be sticking around here for a few more minutes, so if there is anything that I missed, then do ask it again now. So Marco, any changes on the performance? I didn't see any, honestly. And John Colley, what is my top 3 wish list for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024? Okay, better flight dynamics, better atmospheric simulation, meaning mostly the availability of further cloud types, because right now everything is cumulus clouds, they're just stretched in a certain direction, but if we had proper stratus clouds, proper cirrus clouds, and just even proper cumulonimbus clouds, that would be really appreciated. And on the third point, I would say better ground dynamics, because the ground dynamics currently simply suck. So proper ground dynamics would be really appreciated. Mohammed Abbas, what is my favorite cargo company? I honestly tell you, the one that even delivers in first place, which many of them don't. So honestly, I don't have a favorite cargo company. I could probably tell you which one is my least hated cargo company. That would be DHL, because FedEx basically never delivers. They always bring everything immediately to the packing station. And Amazon just sucks as well. I recently ordered the Thrustmaster Airbus stick through Amazon. I had a confirmed delivery date on the 25th, I believe. No, on the 24th. I had confirmed delivery on the 24th, and on the evening of the 24th I got a message like, okay, so we are going to deliver on the 27th now. And I'm like, you serious? At the same time I went to their website and they offered confirmed delivery of the same good on the 25th. And I'm like, U-Series is now delivering on the 27th. So, yeah. Then Alex P453, hi Emmanuel, would you recommend doing a bonded training course? And if so, would you recommend Wizz Air or Air Baltic? Yes, I would recommend to go for a bonded training. Anything where the company pays in advance is gonna be good for your career. But Wizz Air or Air Baltic, honestly, they both are pay-to-fly airlines. If you got other chances than the two, I would go with something else. But if you just need to choose between Wizz Air and Air Baltic, then I would probably say Wizz Air, because the Airbus type rating is going to be worth more when looking into, the Airbus type rating is worth more when you're looking for a decent job thereafter, which the A220 type rating you get at Air Baltic probably is not. And Bam Jajapani, what's my favorite airliner, just in general? A350. Definitely the Airbus A350. And Doctors, which long-haul route would you like to fly the most of all, in sim or real life? Good question. I mean, there's many places I would love to see. I'd love to fly Los Angeles, San Francisco, Buenos Aires, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo. The list is long. We could, if we go into the other direction, Singapore, Phuket, Bangkok, Maldives, obviously. So yeah, that is really... honestly, the list is so long I can't even say. And Lucas Arman, are we ever gonna get a little controlling stream from you? Yeah, I did one live stream as a Langenräder, Frankfurt South Sector in the past, but right now I don't have any endorsement in VATSIM anymore. I still have the C1 rating, but because of all the real life flying, I didn't control enough, and that's why they removed my permission to control down in Frankfurt. I mean, it's funny, I fly into the real airport regularly, but they removed the permission to control. But anyway, it's what they did. So, right now, I can't control anywhere. And honestly, I'm not even sad about it, because it kind of sucked to say everything twice all the time, because people just, because people just don't listen and stuff like that. So, I honestly am not too sad about it. Yeah, I think that's really going to be it for today's live stream, guys. I do hope you all enjoyed it. I certainly did, even though the landing was a little bit eventful. But honestly, nonetheless, even though the landing was eventful, I think we can still say that it was a lot of fun. And it's kind of interesting when things happen every now and then, because it just means that you need to, be on top of things a little bit more, and you need to react a little bit more to things. And if not everything is going to schedule, I think it certainly makes it more interesting. So that's probably the best word to finish off this live stream. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a comment in the video description below. Leave a like if you did like the live stream, as it does help out the channel. And finally, don't forget to subscribe if you're up for more. That's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And then I see you all again on the next one.